Hello and welcome to Aetheryte Radio Gamer Escape's Final Fantasy XIV podcast. I'm Fusion Action. Joining me today, we've got Zanidra.
Hi.
We've got Aldino.
Hello.
And we have the one and the only, as far as we know, Anonymoose.
Hello, hello.
All right, so today...
Such a pause there. Like, did you forget?
Like
You forget who we are.
I'm so used to like going across the panels a certain way, and like I just look and read them, and I'm like, I don't have that. I was like,
who's here?
you people are familiar to me. I just I know. I think I want to say it starts with an A. I don't. Alfred, is that
close?
Alfredo.
Just about.
Okay, so we got a lot of stuff to cover today. We had a live letter. We had, which we're not going to go super into. I closed the out. No, I moved the outline. That's what it was. There it is.
It's somewhere.
It's fine, you're fine.
So yeah, we've had some technical difficulties the last couple of weeks, and I tested things last night, and it was running fine. And then we go live today, and then it was like no. So that threw me into a little bit of a disarray over here. Patch 5.5 is out. 5.05. We've got Eden's Gate Savage. We've got the Dungeons of
lava.
Lahi. Yeah.
Legia.
We've got the Shadowbringers main theme is now available on iTunes and Amazon if you want to buy it digitally. Or you can also wait, and September 11th, the Shadowbringers OST will be released. Make sure to pre-order it now. Pre-orders are up, so get those in if you want it. It also covers the rest of 4.x, so there's no like Requiem for Heroes OST this time around. It's just going right into 5.0, so make sure to pick that up if you want. PAX West panel has been announced. This will be featuring main scenario writer Natsuko Ishikawa and art team lead Takeo Suzuki. That's going to be Sunday, September 1st from 2:30 to 4 p.m. in the main theater.
Yeah.
We're not in one of those little theaters this year. We're in the main theater.
As if we had some things to do with it.
That should be really cool. I'm really excited. I've only been in there a few times. I think the last time I was in the main theater was for like the big like Halo 2 anniversary panel, like a million years ago probably. So definitely check that out. It should be streamed like they have been previously. But we will be out there. Please look forward to our interview as well. That should be coming up. It'll be a fun weekend. I'll probably run out there, do some stuff, come back. We'll do a show, then I'll run back. It's a lot of back and forth for me, but I think there'll be a lot of fun information to talk about. Live letter part 53 is out. We're not going to be talking about that this week because we have a lot of story stuff that we want to get to. But it's up there. We've got our summary up on the site, so make sure to check that out. And also, a little fun fact for you, Shanghai Fan Fest is this weekend going on over in China there.
We were having one of those, did you guys?
Yeah. Well, it's not our version of the game, right? It's not global version. So it's like, oh yeah, that's a thing that they like. I saw. I think it was like Sokin's like, we're going to Shanghai like next week, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's the thing you guys do. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, there's some really cool pictures coming out. We retweeted one showing some pictures of the venue. Really, really cool looking. So make sure to check that out. I think the one other little bit of news I saw before we went live, they're getting a peacock mount. So I guess we're to that on the Mog Station at some point, probably.
Just for all the dancers.
How's it look?
Right.
Ooh.
Looks like a peacock.
Yeah.
But like, does it look like a peacock or does it look like a reskinned phoenix?
No, it looks like a peacock.
Huh.
It's
weird.
Like but like a giant one, like, right? Because it's a mount and because it's a fantasy game. So, you know, they had to take some liberties. It's not like a dodo with big feathers on its butt or anything. It's like an actual
turkey.
I would love to see a dodo dressed up like a peacock in the game. That'd be amazing.
That sounds great. I love that idea. So we're going to go ahead and jump right into stories. So the way that this is going to work, we only want to keep this going for about 2 hours at most. There's a lot of stuff we want to talk about. We want to try and get through everything, but we also want to make sure that we have time to focus on specifics where we can. So this, we're not going to go quest by quest. Like, that's ridiculous. We're just going to hit some of the bigger points as we go along. We're going to try and tackle MSQ. We're going to try and get to Eden as well. So we'll jump in here and see how far we get. So MSQ starts. You get the go down to the bottom of the crystal tower. You go to the trench. And all of a sudden, you're in Lakeland, and you're like, "What's going on?"
You come back from that really like disappointing cliffhanger, and they're like, "No, there's good stuff. Promise. Here you go."
Here you are.
Yeah. No, go check out the trench. There's a thing in the trench. It's fine. Everything's fine. I will say the one thing that I was kind of disappointed with is you meet this guy right in the kind of in the little wooded area of Lakeland, but you never get a name from him.
Mm-hmm.
Right, because we
hoping it was like another B name we could throw on the pile.
Right,
yeah,
right. Yeah, I mean, we like this is the we asked Yoshida about this back at E3 after the trailer came out, where it's like, oh, it's another B guy. Like, that's really cool. Like, what's that about? And you never learned his name, and then he shortly dies. So right after you meet, like, oh,
Bennigan. He's Bennigan now.
Okay.
All I can think of now is South Park with Butters. Like, we're gonna go to Bennigan's. Like. Yeah. Bennigan's is dead. And so we get introduced to the Crystarium a little bit, and then we have a fork choice. Now, from a narrative standpoint, this is a little weird. From a gameplay point of view, this makes a lot of sense, because one of the biggest issues that they had with Stormblood was Raubon. And so right off the bat, they're like, okay, you can go to one of two areas. So who went with... Who went with Alphino and Kalugia first? Anybody?
I did.
You did? Okay. And then everybody else went with Alphino.
No, I explained to you why before. Because save the best for last, clearly.
It was the same reason. It was just a different
We all like Alisaie more. I just save the best for last, and they have their ice cream before they have their dinner.
I have more of a fondness for people that know how to swim.
Oh,
which is hilarious when you consider that she's in the desert and he's in the area that's an island, right? Like,
yeah,
with the possibility of being thrown in water.
Yep.
I'm just a story flow nut, and I thought that like it would flow better if the Warrior of Light checked on Alisaie first, who was the last to go and was really traumatized by it, and then went after that to the place that was clearly more plot relevant.
That makes sense.
I really don't know why I picked it. I think there was a part of me that wanted to see Amarang a little bit more. Because like Kalugia, it's like, yeah, we know like it's Lenosia and whatever. Like, I'm an old dog guy, so I'm like, I want to see what's going on over in Amarang. There you go.
And I've been saying this for forever. Freaking Yulmore looks like the Gold Saucer vomited on Limsa Lomitsa. How could they do this to my city?
It's really interesting. We'll remind me about fat cats when we get into Yulmore.
Sure.
What happens when you put Makote in charge of anything?
Oh snap!
There's just balls of yarn just hanging from the ceiling. They're just sitting there in their chairs, like batting at them. Just going,
bright colors, hanging objects.
I picked Alisaie because I'm like, I have no need for Alphino anymore. I already have Phoenix. I don't need you. I don't
no
care about
longer
you.
require your carbuncle. Thank you.
Yeah. Goodbye.
So we've got we'll do Amarang first, and then we'll go into Kalugia. So you get an Amarang, and you find out that Alisaie is essentially just like this mercenary. She's just patrolling, killing Sun Eaters, helping out the locals in totally not Little Alamigo.
Yeah, that structure is very familiar.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that's so interesting about this is because we talked to Yoshida at, I think it was, E3 or before E3. And we asked him like, are there assets or terrain that's reused? And he's like, no.
Yeah.
But then you get into Amarang and you're looking at this thing and you're like, I've seen this somewhere before.
It's just similar. It's not reused.
It's similar. It's not the exact same asset, but it's really close. But that's part of the charm, I think, of some of this stuff. And this is, as we've said before, when we did our review, Shadowbringers is an expansion that very much builds on everything that we've come to learn over the last 6 years. And so we know this is the first version of Little Alamigo, and so just kind of like our Alamigo. There's people there kind of just taking shelter and just trying to survive. And they have this Sin Eater stuff. Yeah, it's not working out.
Not
so
really
well.
trying to survive.
And so you have your buddy Tesleen, her and Alice are besties, and some stuff happens, and this is the first kind of like, oh shit, like moment that we get in Shadowbringers. If you do Amarang first, you see. Well, I mean, I guess Bennigan, right? Bennigan goes quick, and you're like, ooh, okay, this is a friendly area.
This is way worse. What are you talking about?
Yeah,
this is horrendous.
It's worse, but we get a little taste of that with Bennigan, right? It's like, oh yeah, all right.
People are gonna die.
I'm gonna disagree.
Well, no, I mean they just kill someone first so that you know, hey, it's gonna happen. Remember, and this is when they crank it up.
Maybe don't walk out alone at night in Lakeland.
There's no night.
That's true.
Well played. Well played. Damn, got me. So we see Tesleen, right? There's this young kid that's affected with what's essentially like Sin Eater plague or whatever, right? It's just like there's a clock, and it's just at some point he's gonna turn, and it's gonna be terrible.
Hate that kid.
And he's so weird,
creepy. Don't like him.
Weird. And so she's protecting him. There's a Sin Eater. She gets stabbed. She turns into a Sin Eater, which is unfortunate. But yeah, it's super creepy.
It's an amazing sequence.
Have you ever seen somebody cry light from their eyes? Because I have.
Yeah. It was such good like body horror. Like you know, it's like, oh my goodness.
It was one of those things. I wasn't expecting anything like that. Right?
Not at all. I wasn't.
They definitely took some extra time on that cutscene in particular. Like, hi, hello, let us introduce you to the stakes.
Yeah, exactly.
It was crazy. And then later on in the first dungeon, she's one of the bosses, and you're just like, oh no, like,
how could you do this to me?
And it's even worse too if you have if you're doing it with trust and you have Alice in the group. Yeah. And she's just like, oh no. And I'm like getting emotional just thinking about it. It was terrible.
Yeah.
So that happens, and then you end up going over to Clusia, where you find Alphino being Alphino, being the good boy, doing errands, getting, was it like coffee beans for somebody that runs a little bar in a shack or something. And you are slowly introduced to the culture of Yulmore, which is a little weird. It's a little messed up. So you go over there, and everybody, living in these kind of shacks at the bottom of Yulmore. It's a what do they call those things? The shantytown.
The derelicts.
Yeah, and so every so often we have these two jesters that come down. And they're like, all right, we need a painter. Who can paint? And everyone's like, oh, I can kind of paint. Or, they're like fighting over it, and they pick somebody. And then they're like, all right, great. We're taking them to join the cool kids club. Here's some cool, which is like, it's just white bread. Which is like, okay. They really like food because they live in a shanty town. Makes sense, right?
Yeah.
I immediately was like, this ain't right. Like something's up.
Something's not okay.
This is a MacGuffin. Like they'll be coming back to this.
Well, I'm supposed to know everything about the story, and I'm watching that scene like, ooh, snowflake rolls. I love snowflake rolls.
It's funny. My first thought was because you have the mule, and then there's another cutscene with earlier in the game where it's like I don't know if it's like a peach or an apple or something. And my only thought was like all the food on the first looks like butts. It's like this roll with this kind, like it just looks like
they put poison in the stuff to feed the people who are going to turn, and it was a peach. That was the guy's favorite food.
That's what it was. Yeah, yeah, and it looked like a butt.
All right.
Okay.
I remember it being an observation that I made at the time. It just looked. Hopefully, it tastes better. And so we've got these two gestures that come down, and I'm curious. I've seen two different comparisons for these gestures. One of them is, of course, Zorn and Thorn from Final Fantasy IX, and the other one was the boss, the two bosses from the end of the Gimlet Dark.
Yeah.
Who also got compared to Zorn and Thorin once upon a time.
Yeah.
So, and it's weird, right? It's kind of a combination of the two, right? Because they fight, as we find out later, but they're dressed up as jesters. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
So we go through that. We end up meeting the big guy. Oh shoot, who's the big guy? Nilmar.
Come on.
What?
Wow.
Vothri.
I wasn't super crazy about Vothri, so that's why.
All I can think of is what he becomes.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as you meet Vothri, and immediately you're like, oh, this is a great place. This is a place that I would want to live.
Totally.
Yeah, some
Makes
stuff
me become
happens.
suspicious of people's armpits. Did you notice it first?
Yes.
I didn't.
He's wobbling his arms around. There's a face right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't notice that until you go back to Yulmar, or there's like a cutscene later on
Yeah.
where it's a little more evident. I didn't notice that the first time, and so I noticed it later, and I was like, "That ain't right." Like,
This is a
how our
little,
faces go.
something strange going
Like, hey,
on
look.
here.
look, he has a brother. And so it's super weird. And you know, there's a whole big scene, and you and Alphino leave on less than great terms, right? I'm surprised there wasn't more of a conflict right there, right? Like
fighting your way out.
Yeah, it's super straight. He's up there just like chilling with some sin eaters. He's like, "Yo, what's up?"
He can't reach you. He literally cannot reach you. He
Yeah.
rolls forward and it's like, he can't do anything.
Yeah. He
Too
just
much
kind of
meal.
rages.
He grabs like a stick that he's like trying to.
He can't get
This
to you.
doesn't work.
His
The
wobble
ragdoll
feet,
stick
his
that he
teeny
uses
wobble
to wash
feet
himself,
won't get him anywhere.
Yeah. We later find out what the kind of backstory is, right? Is he's friends with all the sin eaters, which is really weird in this world that is terrorized by sin eaters, and so he's running this like utopia business, and
You know how those always turn out in video games.
Yeah.
Very well.
never anything bad happens with
Nope.
these situations. Never.
No.
And then you find out that there's that scene from the Shadowbringers trailer, right? You have Thancred and you have Minfilia. That's Thancred rescuing Minfilia from Yulmore.
Yep.
Many
They were
moons
holding
ago.
her captive. And so the Minfilia thing is a little crazy. Moose, could you explain a little bit about Minfilia and the Oracle of Light and how that's supposed to work?
Kinda. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean,
they've left some of
Probably-
it a little open.
Yeah.
right.
In general, when she left our dimension, she took on kind of
Stream dead?
characteristics she describes
Hold on.
as
Is the stream dead for reals? Somebody in chat. Is it dead for you guys? It's not dead for me.
No,
So I
it
guess
is not
that
dead
should
for me.
answer that. All right. Keep going. Sorry.
okay. Where was I? Anyway, when she left, she essentially took on qualities that she compares to being like an Ascian, more or less.
Mhm.
And across time, there have been girls who were born that bore a striking resemblance to her, and all of them would end up becoming warriors in Yulmore's army and fighting the Sin Eaters. And you eventually find out that like Minfilia was possessing them as they grew up.
Mhm.
And it's been like a chain that's come till now with the girl that we eventually have in our party. She's the current one.
Mhm.
So there you go. So Thancred gets her out, and all of a sudden Vothri's like, "Hey, no, like you can't do that. She's ours." And so
Yeah.
this whole thing happens. He's got like propaganda blimps. Like it's so weird.
Yeah.
And you end up getting this big confrontation out in Lakeland. There's these ruins out in Lakeland where they have her. So you go in, you get her, you piss off Vothri a little more. You fight.
Ranjit.
Ranjit? Yeah, I almost had it. Had it.
it.
You realize that the impression you get, right, is that Vothri is just like this big, like he's leading everything. You don't know why, but like Ranjit, like he's the guy.
Yeah, he's the
Gonna
dude.
be trouble, right? Because he's pretty strong.
He's got like a dragon friend, and I don't understand why he's so powerful, but he is.
It's weird. Weird. And so it's interesting too. Throughout the story, you have these constant confrontations between Ranjit and Thancred, and it's really this weird
Dad fight.
Yeah,
Dad
it's a dad fight. Yeah, they both kind of raised Minfilia, and they're fighting over. It's really it's weird. It's interesting, and so you get Minfilia, you save her, and then all of a sudden you wind up in Ilmeg, and you're like, okay, like this is great. Like we'll just we'll find Urianger. We haven't seen Urianger yet, and then the pixies show up, and you learn
goes to crap.
How fun they are. Yeah. It's like so weird. Like they get in there and you're like, I don't remember how to get to Urianger's place from here. And it's like, you just go left. Like, how hard was that to remember? Like, just like
listen, when you have been pixie magicked, you can try and remember left. Okay.
One of those times you have to ignore the game is to scale.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that too. Right. It's like
when you take on an entire legion, it's like 40 dudes.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like just like get a tattoo. Just have a U with the left arrow. Like I wonder. Oh, that's right. He's over here. Done.
What if the fairies turn you around? You go the wrong way.
Yeah. Like glamour your tattoo.
Them tricksy pixies.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. That's a fair. Yeah. Okay. They give you a compass that points in the opposite direction.
It's not night there either.
Yeah. I like there's the one line where they talk about Urianger and how he earned the pixies' favor by it was like what staying up and answering riddles for 7 days and 7 nights or something like that.
Something ridiculous.
But, oh my gosh, that sounds terrible.
That sounds like him.
There's a part of me that wants to like get an echo later on that just shows a snippet of that. Like I think that would be hilarious to actually see.
Just give us like 30 seconds of it.
Yeah. Just voiced with like this giant, like exasperated, like oh gods, like. So you end up finding Urianger.
Oh, you know where he got the training for that? Moonbreeda.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
He was totally chill the whole time. He's like, been through this. This is fine.
Speaking of Moonbreeda, have you heard the thing with I think it was the JP Trusts?
Mm-hmm.
There's I don't think anyone's found it in English yet. I could be wrong, but I think it was in Japanese if you have the voice for Japanese on. And your Urianger Trust dies in the dungeon. Mm-hmm. Sometimes he'll make a reference to Moonbreeda.
Oh.
Yeah.
My heart's
like, oh.
You're trying to hurt me.
Yeah, it's like, oh man.
So the Trust is so great for that stuff. Oh man, just getting more insight to the personalities.
Yeah, you know, and it's interesting. Like I ran Trust a couple times at the media tour. Mm-hmm. I hadn't touched them at all in 5.0 until I got to the last 2 dungeons. Because at that point, I'm like, I feel like I need to run it with the Trust, right? It's like,
sure, yeah.
The story, you know, like it feels like way more appropriate.
I did every dungeon with them the whole way through.
Yeah, I did it with Trust the whole way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Patch 5, that's fine. Patch 5.05 did increase the XP. By the way, that your Trust do earn in dungeons, so you don't need to run a dungeon 12 times now to level up your Trust. Thank God. Like that was terrible.
Yeah,
that was terrible. I'll probably be doing more Trust stuff. My Dancer's at like 71 now. My Gunbreaker's getting up to 65, 66. So at some point, I'll just kind of dabble in those. And
do you think they were used more than they thought they would be, and that's kind of where they add more needed experience?
I don't know.
I think it was just one of those things. Is they're like, yeah, like this XP is fine, like because a lot of people are gonna want to go through and level stuff, and then after the expansion comes out, and people are like, this is taking forever. Like you know, a lot of people are like, I got 70 to 80, and my Trusts aren't even out of like the first dungeon yet. Yeah. Like, what is going on? Mm-hmm. And so that's probably why they adjusted it. I mean, it makes sense to use it as a method to level alternate jobs, but you don't want it to be like ridiculous either. So. Yeah. They have said too that there will be level or new dungeons coming out in the next patch that you can take Trust in if they're MSQ based, but you don't need to level them up in order to run. It'll be like just going through MSQ, and it's the new dungeon. You can just go in and do it. Yeah. Right. As soon as I heard that, I was like, oh no, because that was something we had talked a little bit about. Mm-hmm. Is the idea of maybe taking Trust into dungeons after the area was done. And how that would work, but
they would become useless because you just level them up all the way. But it won't matter. Hooray!
Yep, won't matter.
Yeah,
thank goodness.
So we finally run into Urianger He's decided to become an astrologian. And he gives us this big revelation that we've had astral and umbral reversed this whole time.
Yeah.
I hate this.
Yeah.
Oh yeah?
I don't hate it itself. I hate like number one that I've had to explain it every single day since this patch dropped.
Yep.
That's one that's bugged me a lot. And really, I just want to know where it came from, because it sounds like it was a compromise between like Yoshida, main scenario, and world lore. Like they all had a big fight at a table one day. It's just no, light's not an element. Like we can't do that.
So let's explain it one more time, and then anybody that ever asks you about it again, you can just link them to this episode. You'll be
at
done.
the time.
Yeah.
Okay, so like on the source, astral and umbral have multiple meanings, and that's part of what's causing the confusion. Umbral is a word that is always associated with like shadow and stagnation and strife and death. And astral is a word that is always associated with like growth and luster and like life, I guess, because it all goes back to that original thaumaturge job or class. Because it was supposed to be like null and all, life and death, astral, umbral. So they were going to just take light and darkness off the wheel entirely and have them be polarities of the elements. So if you think about like an element as being left, right, up, down, or dimensional directions, you can think of astral and umbral as being three-dimensional directions.
Yeah.
And the idea was that anything that was like really energetic and promoted growth was astral. So that's why you have an astral era. Anything that was full of strife and death and stagnation was umbral. That's why you have an umbral era. They're just like philosophical terms. But it all goes back to this idea that everything in nature can be astral or umbral. And the elemental wheel was split into this too. And while any element could be astral, they even split the wheel. So like 3 elements were considered quote unquote astral, 3 were considered quote unquote umbral. And that was just the association we've always had. And we didn't know why something gained an astral or umbral charge. It was just like, oh, if it's fire and it's astral, it's more energetic. It's like a blazing inferno. And if it's fire and it's umbral, then it's kind of passive. It's like kind of like a burning desert. It's dry, it's hot. And then we go over to the first, which has been decimated by this whole light situation. And you are told that light is actually a force of stasis, and that when light acts on an element, it pulls it towards being more passive. And that is really what umbral is. It's the effect that light has on elements. So therefore, astral is darkness's effect on elements, adding more energy to them, making them more energetic. And so that's why we've had it backwards the whole time. And the only reason the first has it right is because it doesn't see the effect that that like light or darkness has on the elements as being a unique thing. It just sees the interaction between the two. Does any of that not make sense so far?
I'm good.
You're like all of it. It's
it's a lot. It's a lot, right? I mean, and part of the issue too is you spent so long being exposed to that idea, right? It's like that astral good, umbral bad, and this is how this works. And then all of a sudden they're like, hey, so
you're wrong.
Well, that's a Final Fantasy thing, right? Like,
remember when we wrote the encyclopedia and we said like that it was from the perspective of scholars in the world, and they don't always know everything. Yeah, we're gonna lean on that pretty hard here.
Well, and like I was saying, Final Fantasy loves to do that. Like, oh, light's so good, you know everything. So no.
And that's been the whole thing. Yeah, that's the whole thing with this expansion, right? It's we're now the warrior of darkness, and darkness is great, and light is bad, and there you go.
I think the real keystone for the test, or the real like keystone to understanding it, is that in the first lore book we were told that the Bahamut calamity was all elements tilted astral. And it was like a calamity of very energetic elemental stuff. But if you look at what's going on in the first, it's not really a calamity of light. It's a calamity of all of the elements tilted umbral, which fits the pattern and explains everything and fits with all of what we've been told, but it still gets to be a calamity of light like Yoshida wanted. So I think it was like a compromise of everybody trying to figure out how they can make it work with what's come before and what they want to do now.
Right. I know there was also a really interesting scene too, in the Exarch's room where he is explaining the calamities and how that works, and he's got all the different worlds and the elements, and like I thought that was like really cool. It's like, oh, there's that one, there's that one. Like,
have that laid out so nice.
Yeah,
really nice to be able to point people towards a PowerPoint in the game. Like, watch that, you'll get it.
My first thought is like, man, Trey's gonna be, Moose is gonna be taking so many screenshots right during this cutscene,
or just a video, like
video. Like,
So,
a whole map now. He's like, all right, this is this is Calamity.
Yep.
There's a lot in here. Did any of this stuff with regards to the Astral and the Umbra discussion, did this, it feels like it was just kind of shoehorned in. Did this explain anything else that we knew about or had questions about? I don't think it did.
Do we know which element our 7th calamity was?
It was all elements tilted astral.
Okay.
But now that we know that darkness is what does that, that's why in like the Exarch's little diorama, it's like evil dragon fruit color.
Okay.
That's great. That's
because it went through, and each of the different ones had a different element. So I was curious.
That's why I was thinking of that cutscene, because I remember there was something about it, and that's what it was. It was the color of that one. I'm like, these are all elements. Like, what color is that one gonna be? Like,
I don't know if
the color of the Hobbit.
I don't know if it helps us. I mean, it helps us put a lot of stuff in context, but I don't know if it explains anything that came before, because it's such a piece of lore. Like, it kind of it solidifies that there's nothing literally astral about an astral era, or literally umbral about an umbral era, or umbral calamity. It's just the words Eorzea uses. I think that's nice to know for sure, that it's, there's nothing actually astral or umbral about it.
So after we talk to Urianger, we have that revelation. We got to go and kill our second Light Warden, who is Titania. And so we have to go and fetch quest. We need a crown, I think it was a pair of shoes,
dress and a staff.
Dress and a staff, there you go. And so we go in there, we fight Titania, we beat Titania, and then, oh, by the way, whoever defeats the king is the next king. Thanks for letting us know. Maybe, maybe give us a heads up about that.
It's a tricksy-fixy thing, right?
And then good old Feo shows up and is like, oh, I can take it if you don't want. And then I'm just like, no, I don't really want that either.
Yeah, we haven't really talked about Feo.
Interesting character, not my kind of character, right? It's like a Scottish version of Navi from Ocarina of Time. It's like that's, and it's also like their reasoning for a lot of stuff, right? Like, oh, you can talk to retainers on the first because Feo is a pixie and pixies are magic, and like
why not?
That's like their way out, right?
She's obnoxious.
Yeah.
But if you have a contract with the king of the fairies, you're kind of like the emperor.
I mean,
of the
you're
fairies,
pretty
right?
good. You're pretty well off, like, if you go to Ilmeg, be like, don't mess with me, I know the king. They're like, oh,
okay.
I could have been your king.
Yeah.
Yeah, had better things to do,
Yeah.
I just love all these entities that we're collecting that are just following us around. Like there's Feo. I mean, there's been Midgard Solmare. There's been technically the Word of Darkness. We haven't talked about that yet. Like, there's so many people in our brain space. Just like, hey, could you please leave me alone for just 1 second? No. Okay.
All right. We will get to Ardbert. We do. One thing I forgot to put in here was the battle at Lakeland. So we'll need to. When was that in the storyline? It was. I'm trying to remember. It was kind of in the middle.
Yeah. Trying to remember.
But I think we went from
before Ilmeg because we ran from it to Ilmeg too high.
That's right.
That's right. That's right. So there's this big battle out in Lakeland, right? With it's interesting because when we had the benchmark come out, there was this part in the benchmark where like these sirens are going off and there's sin eaters, and you're like, oh, like what's going on? Like me being me, right? I'm like, maybe there's some hidden like besiege element that they haven't told us about yet.
Yeah.
No. But there's this whole instance that runs you through You're fighting off Sin Eaters, and you're going through Lakeland, and you go through like all of Lakeland, just fighting off waves, and they really did a great job of immersing you in certain situations. Even in like the Crystarium, they would change the BGM running during certain quests just to give you an overall feeling, like just to kind of push that a little harder. And in this fight, so you're talking to Ardbert throughout this story, right? We haven't mentioned him yet. You'll go to your inn, and he'll just kind of show up. You'll have a little chat. He's there. He's like a ghost. Only you can see him. And you just you have chats.
Discuss how people send you out for fetch quests.
Yes, that was one of my favorite parts.
Like, they made you go get all that stuff. It's like, yeah, let me tell you about the time I had to get ready for a buffet.
You too, bro.
Some things never fetch quests never change.
And even though there's that jokey element, man, every time you talk to him is so impactful. And feeling the struggle that he had to go through,
and the dialogue options that they give you as well are really good. And I know we talked about this.
I would like to throw back to the first time you kill a Light Warden and the sky clears and you see all the NPCs looking up at the sky. None of them have ever seen a night sky. Yeah, and like if you'd really like took the time to think about it, you might be like, oh, that's really impactful. But the way it's presented to you during the cutscenes, you're not hit over the head with it, but you realized what those characters are feeling, and I just loved that.
The level of emotional impact that they are able to convey, I think, in this story is what makes it so good. I also think it's just little things too, like it was it Crafter's Scripts or Gathering Scripts? Like they added some items that you can get now, and there's like a bunch of lanterns now. Yeah. You're like, why would they have lanterns? Because they need lanterns now. They never had lanterns before. Like it's like a little thing. You're just like, what? Like
it does kind of make you wonder, like, how old is the Crystarium? Because they have lights in some places. Why would they need those? Well, some places I think actually don't have street lamps, and I think that's a really nice detail.
Yeah.
They didn't need them.
So, like, are there street lamps? Like, just because the devs knew we would eventually have night there? Like,
I mean,
ruining my immersion right now.
Yeah. Like, how dare they?
Like the one town that actually kind of looks like a town in Kalusia. Well, I think there's two of them, but the one that looks slightly nicer, I think it doesn't actually have lamps. I could be wrong, but I think the only thing that lights up there are the windows inside the houses.
Yeah,
I wonder if they would go back and slowly add streetlights as the expansion. Just like one of those things, right? Like we obviously have Ishgard reconstruction, right, for 5.0, but like maybe like 5.1, that one city in Kalusia, they get a couple of street lamps or something. Like and then there's a guy hanging from one because that's what we do.
That's what they do.
Has to.
It's this right area. It's always in Limsa.
Yeah.
There's already people hanging from the derelict shit there, though.
Yeah. I went along that whole like giant cliff in Kalusia just to see if there was just anything anywhere. I know there's no people supposed to be there, but I'm like, that would be hilarious. That would be a long fall.
That would be great.
Don't like it.
So one of the really emotional scenes, go back to that battle at Lakeland. You have Ardbert, who, again, nobody knows he's there. Nobody can see him. You can't interact with anybody. He's just, he's a ghost. And you have this scene where there's like these two soldiers, right? And there's a Sin Eater coming, and Ardbert is just watching the whole thing. And he's like, the one gets hit, and he has his axe out. He's like, he can't do anything. And they both
That's a great scene.
Yeah, so good.
Man, and it's good because again, it reminds you again what the stakes are in this world, right? How bad things actually are, and it gives you. Before for Ardbert, right? All we knew is like, oh, he's this warrior of darkness that came from another world, and we had to deal with him a little bit, right? In Heaven's Word.
I did not like him.
Yeah, right. It's such a crazy thing. Like if you'd have told me back in 3. Was it 3.3? 3.4? The Warriors of Darkness arc came in, like. If you would have told me, okay, so 5.0, it's all about them and the one guy from the Crystal Tower story. Okay.
That one dude.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny.
So
like
weird.
A lot of people were really mad about how short that was, and it was like, well, you know, something else has to come of them. No, they're dead. Well,
okay.
It's so bizarre. Like
if you go back to 3.1 and tell Yoshida, hey, did you know 5.0 is going to be about the Warriors of Darkness and that dude from the Crystal Tower story, he too would have been like, what?
Probably,
It's interesting because I remember that was actually, Moose, that was the year you came to E3 with us.
Yeah.
When the Heavensward trailer dropped. And I remember us walking up to Koji just to say hi, right after the trailer had dropped. And he looks at us and goes, do not ask me about the Warrior of Darkness. So I'm wondering, like, man, what did they know then?
Yeah.
It could.
Did you watch the live letter part on that?
I watched some of it. I didn't get all the translations though. I wasn't like watching the translations live
a little bit and actually admitted what they knew when they
really
writing.
Okay.
Yeah. They like when they do foreshadowing in the game. There's like 3 types of foreshadowing. There's like a deliberate, we know what's going to happen and we're giving you signs that's coming. And then there's what they call like a hook. They lay a foreshadowing and they have no idea how they're gonna like use that hook.
That's what I was gonna
strategy
think. Yeah.
And then the third one is just like nothing was intended at the time, but they're gonna pretend it was.
Yeah.
Write new stuff that fits in with the old stuff and just be like, yeah, foreshadow.
So we were planning this all along.
Like you can do foreshadowing afterwards. Like
yeah.
So he was talking about how this whole thing with the Warriors of Darkness is just a really skillful post-planned exit strategy of the stuff that they did before. They're actually just bringing it together and tying it all together in a way that wasn't necessarily planned to be this deep before, but it turned into something they thought was really cool.
Yeah.
agreed.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's see, where were we? Yeah, right at the end of Ilmeg too. Yeah, I think we talked a little bit about this earlier, just with little Alamigo, right?
Yeah.
Comparisons and stuff. It was interesting for Ilmeg. Like I noticed something in most areas. Like maybe it was obvious, maybe it wasn't. But for Ilmeg, right? Ilmeg is the first version of like Korthus and Ishgard. You had Verbert, which was like their version of Ishgard years and years ago. And so like on the source with Ishgard, right, you have dragons and man at war for 1,000 years, right, at each other's throats. And then you have Ilmeg, where like everybody's like, man, we miss man. We served man. Man was great. We were like besties. We all got along. It was wonderful. It's like the exact opposite. There's no snow.
Well, the snow is pretty new, too.
Yeah, that's true. The snow is pretty new.
The Alpine area so much. Like it's been years. I'm still not over it. Like give it back.
I loved 1.0 Korthus so much. That was my favorite zone. It was so good.
Music.
Yeah.
Unspoken. They use that a lot too in the cutscenes for Shadowbringers. That track.
Yeah.
The old one. This track, yeah, a lot.
I loved Ilmeg, and like when we played it at the media tour, I was like, man, this place is going to be so annoying. I don't like the way it looks.
Yeah.
And then I think when you bring the night back there, oh man, it at night seeing that castle is so beautiful. Like every time I
hate the castle.
Oh my god, it just looks so good though on the backdrop.
The reason I hate it is because I usually port into the southern port, and then for hunts, and then I have to go north to get to the rest of my hunts, and this castle's in the middle, and I have to go around it. It wastes my time. It's not a good reason.
I did like the castle just because it's one of those things where you have exterior versus interior, and I feel like the scale is weird to me. It's not as bad feeling as those.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
It's not as bad as those towers from Stormblood in.
Oh yeah.
Like was the fringes, or it was peaks, I can't remember, but it's like those 3 towers with the gun, and they're like, oh no, we had like a whole unit up there, and you see it like crumble and stuff, and you're like, if I sit on top of it with my chocobo, I'm like the size of that whole tower. How many people did you say you had in there?
I mean, that's true.
Like a clown car tower. You just
like I can get rid of the fairies, the pixies, but like the Numu, oh my goodness, I just want to stay there forever. I love them. Like I've always loved them. Like if
town.
I would just change to one. I would Fantasia to one if we could. immediately and wouldn't even go back ever again.
So after all the stuff in Ilmeg, we get into the Raktika Greatwood. Immediately, we run into trouble. Right now, we've got our good buddy Emmett Selk is joining us. He's just kind of chilling with it. And then we get like ambushed by these people, and we're like, "What's going on?" And then Y'shtola shows up, who doesn't recognize you because you've eaten a couple light wardens since you last saw each other, and it's interesting too. I have this a couple points down, but so you meet her, and she's like, "Oh, we're in this place called Slitherbow. You just like come east, and you can't miss it, right?" And she leaves. Later on, you encounter the Viera from Fano. And the Fano, the Viera, they're like, "Hey, like we're over here. Just follow like this blue flower path." And Y'shtola's like, "Wow, they couldn't like walk us? Like that's rude." And I'm thinking, "Excuse you."
Yeah, like, I didn't think about that.
Same thing to us on the other side of the map. But one of the things I loved walking into Slitherbow for the first time is
the three of them really did need to get the crap back to town and be like, "Don't kill these ones. They're okay."
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, we didn't want to have our first encounter be a fight with them.
Like, they didn't get back in time to tell Sally, and Sally murders somebody. Oops.
Yeah. Gotta watch out for Sally.
Yeah.
But yeah, walking into Slitherbow for the first time, that reuse of Whisper of the Land from 1.0.
Yes.
That was next to Unspoken. That was like my second favorite track from 1.0, and I'm just like, oh man, so good.
We're in Britannia.
Yes.
So,
but the good part.
Yeah. The comparison that I grabbed out of Raktika, right? Like obviously this is like the woods, right? It's right outside of Gridania. Slitherbow, in the way that they had the Children of the Dark and those two groups
and stuff.
It was giving me like really hard like Gelmora vibes.
Yeah.
Right? And it's again, it's one of those things like a casual player may not get that, right? They're just, they're doing quests, whatever, but like if you've paid attention for the last 6+ years, like you get in there and you're like, oh, okay.
Like caves in here.
Yeah. This came from. Yeah, and it's like it's just it's so interesting to see that.
My favorite part were all of the giant roots and branches holding up rocks, like that section of the 1.0 forest in like the northeast.
Yeah.
That's the best part of the forest, and it's
really
pretty much Raktika now. So
yeah,
it's good to see.
I really like the way that, like, I mean, we had the the Dravanian, which one was the one with Annex Trine?
Forelands?
Yeah, and they, when that came out, they explained it like, oh yeah, there's these trees and it kind of makes this canopy thing, and now you're looking at Raktika and you're like, that thing ain't no canopy, like those are just trees. Like
those are tents, little individual tents.
Yeah. You're flying around Raktika, you're trying to like dodge branches, and it's like it's really crazy the way that zone was designed. It looks really cool.
There's also the section in the southeast that has like the river.
Oh yeah.
There's a section on the original Gridanian forest, which is actually in the southwest, which looks almost exactly the same.
Yeah, I thought that too.
Yeah.
Where it really confines you to walking along the river, and I think it might even have the same mobs.
I think it does. I think because down there is where yeah. I think down there, is that where someone's regret, right? That's where the coral are.
Yeah.
And I had this flashback doing it. I was like, wait a second, I didn't even play 1.0 that much, but I remember this.
This area is
like there's an ethereal node around here somewhere that I need to get my achievement.
You got to kill the boar for your penance belt or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Oldness.
Gosh. Gosh. And so then one of the other big things that we have in the Raktika Greatwood is basically the first version of the Alligans. We have the Ronkin Empire, which is this weird kind of like, I don't know what, Aztec-y thing.
That's good.
But
Aztec. Magitech, Aztec. They're just nodding. They're upset with me now.
I love it. I
hadn't thought about it that way. That I can't be mad. It works. It does.
I love them, and I want to learn everything about them. I just love that aesthetic and, you know, the history of it. I want to know so much more.
They don't seem really interesting. Like, I thought they were kind of old just because of the as a real world person, the Aztecs, you know. But this, I feel like this is what, like at least 300 years old, mid max, because that's how long the bunnies were waiting for a friend of the Ronkins, right?
Oh, that's right. That's right.
So they're not that old.
Yeah.
It's also interesting too, when you look at the Ronkin Empire versus the Allegan Empire, just the design differences and stuff. Like, because the Ronkin Empire, it seems like a more earthy, right? It's there. You know, there's enchanted blocks and golems and stuff like that. But you know, we also have like the first tombstone weapons that we got for 5.0 were that whole gear set was Ronkin,
yeah.
And that looks a little more high tech ish, right? Nothing like crazy, but yeah, it's really interesting just to see that comparison where you have the Allegans that are like super crazy high tech, even though they have like the really old looking machines in a few areas from 13. But yeah, it's really interesting just to see.
I'm curious if Ronka is going to be a little closer to what Allag was intended to be. Because, like, in 1.0, we never had any hint that Allag was supposed to be this advanced until Yoshida needed an excuse to bring down the moon. Like, Allag is kind of whatever Allag needs to be these days. Especially when, I mean, remember when we joked with Koji, like, why is there such a discrepancy between like the tech of the like automatons that are coming after us and the tech of like the starship they're protecting? And he just laughed, like, that's what happens when you need assets from 13.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So we know how much of Allag is like, just let's get 2.0 off the ground and we'll worry about it later. And now we're so sick of Allag, and we see Ronka, which is a little closer to the like crystal spires and togas that we had before.
Sure, yeah.
But instead of the like glowing blue, it's glowing orange. Like maybe we're just gonna go in another direction.
Yeah.
We need to explain something. Where did the Ixali come from? I don't know. They were Allegan something.
There you go. It's exactly what we needed. I just like how, like you were talking about, the integration of the Earth in their technology, because there's really no look of that in Alec. They get rid of, they eschew all of the like natural elements unless they're, you know, like,
and that also kind of works with what we know of the 12s would, right, with the balance with the elementals and all that kind of stuff, where it works really well.
I'm really hoping it's like a thematic branch, because if you go back to like Labyrinth of the Ancients and some of the ruins out in Thanalan that are blamed on Allag, and some of the ruins out in Mordona that are blamed on Allag, then you can be like, maybe that's what they were like originally before all this went. Like, maybe Ronka is just another branch of that kind of aesthetic. I don't want to say that they're like canonically related in game, but I mean, like, the art team is like, let's go back and revisit the way we could have gone.
I mean, you know, because Emmett Selk is in this part, you know, we're talking about Alleg, and they had some outside influence, and maybe it was historically they were closer to the Ronka, and then
they had a little kick in the advancement butt.
I don't know. That would be really cool, but of course, I don't know.
Blue is the new orange.
Let me tell you about this void thing if you want, Emperor Zandy. If you want to make some packs and stuff.
Yeah. Just level up your equipment real quick.
Totally won't mess with your entire civilization. Trust me. Everything will be fine.
I lie to you.
No, you seem like a trustworthy guy. So you go through all this stuff. You meet the Viera, and then you end up going into some of the Ronkin the ruins, right? Here we get to see some nice cave paintings, which are interesting. There's in the dungeon you run through, there's also some in a quest as well. And this is another one of those Ardbert scenes where, you know, they met this painter guy or whatever, and it's like, oh, hey, here's like his party, right on the wall painted, and you're just like, oh man, like it's another one of those. We're just kind of getting.
Except for the middle's all smudged where he was.
Yeah.
Even more. Oof.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's crazy. So you get through this dungeon, and Emmett Selk is like, "Allow me to be your tour guide."
Yeah.
If you look to your left, and this is the scene where we got in the launch trailer where Hydaelyn and Zodiac are primals. Because we needed to make Zodiac to not die, and then people were upset about things, and so they made Hydaelyn, and stuff happened, and now we have 14 different stars. Thank you very much. And we're like, that's weird. That's interesting.
Go into super detail about that, like Astral Umbral, or what? Or when we get to it, I don't know. Should we wait for later on when we get the full explanation in the story too, or what? Because it's gonna come back up.
it will, yeah. I think so. Probably just get back to that once we get to Amarat, because that's really where everything comes to it.
Oh boy,
yeah.
Because even the explanation of how they're primals but not really requires that knowledge. So we should just come back to it.
Okay, cool.
I mean, realistically, like for me, like we could skip all this stuff and just go like to Amarat. Like that's where all the good stuff is. Yeah. So you go through these dungeons. Eventually, we wind up back in Clusia because Thothry, he's still there. He's an issue, and so we go over there. And everybody's under mind control because surprise, the Beal was actually Sin Eaters this entire time.
We had to go back to Amarang first.
Did we go back to Amarang?
For the big dad fight.
Oh, we did.
Yeah, the big dad fight.
Big dad fight.
I forgot all about that.
Also to learn about Telos.
Yes.
Talos.
The Talos. Yeah, that introduces Talos. Yeah, so before Clusia, this is why I asked you guys to check the outline.
Where?
I didn't even forget. I didn't even remember that part. I didn't like it.
Whatever. All right. I'm ranked part 2. We get to the Amber Hills side of the map. And we need to get through a certain gate because we need to go to this area, and Minfilia needs to have a chat with Minfilia and decide if she's her own person. And so we end up meeting up with some miners, it's this old western kind of mining town of people, and they're like, you can't get through the gate unless you have a giant golem that we used to use. You need to fix it up. And there's actually this really, again, with the emotional storytelling, there's like the head of this group lost his wife and kids to all this stuff that's been going on, and you find the one missing piece that you needed, right, to fix up this Talos, is like the last thing that his wife found, like before she died, and she like carved a note on it, and you just happen to find it, right? And it's just like, oh man, like really?
Why you gotta do this to me?
Yeah, it's just
they're just making sure you still have a heart.
Yeah.
Going through some minds all of a sudden, and the game's like, hey, you haven't had an emotional gut punch for a while. If you want to just get ready for it,
come over here. This area, I don't know how I forgot it, because this is where we were like, are we going to the New World? What's up with armadillos and like cowboy stuff? Remember that?
Yeah. I was so like, this has to be the New World. This can't be anything else except for a completely different planet. But it's beside the point. Yeah. I was so sold on the fact that it was part of the New World.
No dice.
You know what's gonna happen? We're gonna go to the New World, and it's gonna look like
that would be hilarious.
And I'll just be like, I knew it the whole time.
But there's armadillos.
Yeah. Why would there be armadillos on the first? That doesn't make any sense.
So then there's a cool fight.
Yes.
There's a really cool fight. So we have Dad Fight part, what is it, 3 at this point? 2?
Best. Dad part best. Dad Fight.
One on
best. Fight. Yeah, you roleplay Thancred.
Yes.
And it's crazy because Thancred gets his ass beat hard. Oh, yes. He is a little worn out after this fight, and it's interesting because we learn in Ilmeg that some stuff happened with Thancred back in A Realm Reborn. I don't know if you remember, he was possessed by an Ascian. Stuff happened, and basically Thancred isn't magic anymore.
Yeah.
Some people may disagree, but Thancred is not magic anymore. And so basically Minfilia, because he's a gunbreaker now, so she has to make all the ethereal charged ammunition for the gun. I don't know if he thought about that before he decided to become a gunbreaker. He's like, I may run into some issue with the ammo, but I think he'll be fine.
The coolest thing is they enforce that in the trusts too.
They do.
He can't.
But not in the trailer.
Yeah.
He's rescuing her.
Yeah.
Well, no. Right before they ran up the stairs, he's like, "Hey, can you charge these bullets?"
I know we've got to run, but could you please?
Or he showed up with some, possibly, but
maybe.
I don't know if you've heard. I'm not magic anymore. If you want to get out of here, please be magic and magic my bullets.
Yeah.
And so Thancred ends up winning out. But yeah, there's the mechanic where you have to, you end up using like the one super powered magic bullet that she's been working on for a while now, and it's really interesting. It draws out longer than it probably should. I feel like that fight felt like it went forever.
Yeah.
But at the end of it, like they actually the gun blade was scratched out. I think Yoshida mentioned that during the live letter. Like the whole Thancred's model changed and was just scratched, beaten, and he took a hard beating from Ranjit.
So my favorite part was that you got his gunbreaker mechanics and also ninja mechanics.
Yeah.
Or
really
rogue
cool
mechanics. Like, oh yeah, no, he's still also it's fine.
He's got more training.
He's good.
How many of us thought he was a goner, like completely?
Oh, I was super worried. I was like there was a part of me that was like, I don't feel like they would do this because he's the only tank we have.
Right.
Yeah. Right. But at the same time, I think part of the problem is I watch too much Walking Dead, and I used to watch a lot of Game of Thrones, right? So I'm like, someone's gonna die. One person at some point is gonna right. Yeah, you're just emotionally prepared for somebody to go.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, is I prepare myself so much for someone important to go, and then for 2 expansions now, it's been kind of like they introduce people to get ganked.
Yeah.
We're back to the old status quo where it's not as shocking anymore.
Unless you're Fordola. If you're Fordola, you just show up and then fizzle away. Nobody. They actually
I don't know why this is a thing. Like everybody said that about the Warriors of Darkness. They came back. It took an expansion, but they're back.
They're popular. That's the thing. If people are like, "Where the hell's Fordola? We want more Fordola." She'll come back.
There's I haven't
have a cameo Summoner Quest.
I haven't read it yet, but they do have a Fordola story in the Chronicles of Light book as well. Which is sad because I've had that book for months now. I still haven't read it. But there is something in there I've heard for that. Yeah. So Minfilia, they go through. Minfilia talks to Minfilia. You get a little bit more of an idea of what actually happened when we last saw our Minfilia. They teleported over to the first. They're hanging out in Amarang when this giant wave of light is coming, and we see all of the Warriors of Darkness sacrifice themselves to stop this flood of light, except for Ardbert. So it's already weird that he's like, I'm a ghost. Nobody can really talk except for you. And also, I watched all of my friends die.
Yeah.
Man. Man.
Ardbert is first for saddest guy.
Yeah, he's having a bad century, you guys.
Some people feel bad if they have like a bad day or a bad week. You don't even know.
Yeah, seriously.
And so Minfilia is talking to Minfilia, and the end result is she decides she's going to be her own person, but she's also still gonna try and be this kind of force for good and do right by everybody. And she comes out and they rename her to Reen, and she has orange hair now instead of blonde hair. There was a tiny part of me that was half expecting them to like cut it and name her Dagger or something, like give her like a bigger Final Fantasy nod, right? But Reen,
you beat up my old dad, now you're my new dad and you get to name me.
Oh, it sounds really creepy.
It's weird.
It is a little weird. You're right. I didn't even think about that.
A little weird.
Before we hit the next area, did you notice where the flood of light was stopped?
No, I did not.
Right at the town?
Yeah, if you look at the map of the first, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The flood of light was stopped like all the way south and a little bit to the west.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at where that is in relation to the desert and where everything is, this whole trek to see Minfilia again was just one final prey return to the Waking Sands.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Because I remember when we were looking at, that the tunnel, there's the tracks down. Yeah. And I was like, this is way too familiar. I know what they did.
I didn't pick up on that at all.
Oh my.
Isn't there even a fate out there that says something about the Waking Sands?
Yes. Pray destroy the Waking Sands.
Yeah. Pray destroy the Waking Sands. Yeah. It's a antlion fate, I want to say.
Yeah.
I just never put it together because I was like, oh no, I'm going down here when I was doing it. I made a joke about it, because, my girlfriend's behind me playing it as well. And I just threw it away after that. Yeah, but that's right. Holy crap.
Wow.
I think it's just the idea that
sure.
I like the idea at least that it's where she resonated most with on the planet.
Sure.
So that's where she showed up. Like that's kind of her ideological home point.
I mean, that would make a lot of sense.
Now, all I can think about is all the discussions we've had over the years of why isn't there an Aetheryte down by the...
I have a very important question.
There was the whole time. Just for her.
What's up?
Are there link pearls on the first?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Did anyone use one?
I don't know.
We know for a fact that there are because during... was it when you unlock the twinning dungeon or something? They're like, hey, we found these old link pearls or something.
Oh, is that what they found?
All I remember is them mentioning...
trying to remember anyone using one.
Yeah.
All
I remember is our friends telling us that our link pearls don't work.
Yeah. I do remember that.
I do specifically remember them finding link pearls in the tower at some point. It was towards the end, I want to say, though.
Work?
So there are now.
I was going to run a string search.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because,
that makes sense.
If those are from the source also, they theoretically also do not work, just like ours don't.
Yeah.
I mean, they could fix it.
Maybe. I don't know.
But they haven't.
Still tower. I don't know.
Either way, that was a question I've actually had for a couple of weeks and not taken the initiative to look into.
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Now that we're talking about Minfilia and the Waking Sands.
Yeah, exactly. Just use a link pearl, please. Right? I hadn't thought about that. Huh.
Okay, so after
the only ones Urianger has access to are ones he salvaged from the tower.
Okay.
Do they say they work or not?
He says that because of the way, like where they came from and how we're using them, that they're not going to be as reliable as the ones.
That's what it is.
Okay, so they can
because
work.
they are
the reception isn't great.
Yeah,
got it.
They're super old. The batteries are wearing out.
Well, there's only one cell tower on the first now.
So. Well, the Aether streams aren't the same, right?
It's like the only mention of link pearl in the expansion.
Yeah.
There you go.
Thanks.
Now you know.
Thank you.
Aside from back on the source.
Mm-hmm.
So theoretically, our link pearls might work crappily.
Yeah.
If the wind is blowing the right way and you're looking north on wind speed.
And you're at the proper elevation.
Yeah.
But you just have to face the crystal tower. It is the cell tower. That's what I'm saying. That's it. It's the one.
All right.
Little red blinking light on top of it now.
Excellent. Beautiful. I love it.
So Bothry's propaganda ships don't hit it.
Yeah.
I'm taking this as information in my headcanon that the link shell is just like an interface that's built into the Aetherites.
That makes a lot of sense, too.
Questions for Koji.
Oh, man.
Which provider has the best price on link shells?
In Shellos.
An unlimited shell plan that I can get. All right, so Kalucha Part 2. People ate the mule. Mule was sin eaters. They're kind of brainwashed. you end up going up to confront Bothri. You run into Ranjit again because he's the guy. And you finally finish him off.
Yep.
He like
theoretically
summons a dragon, and then he's like wearing the dragon. It's weird.
He wears the dragon during Dad Fight.
Yeah. So
that's right. He transforms during that fight, and then he's just still transformed during. Part. So that's right.
What was that even? Because I've been thinking, like, what was that even?
They call it a familiar in the game.
Yeah. So what? How?
Did he primalify himself? Maybe kind of like in a Shiva way.
Yeah.
There's some. They say that it was created. It's an arcane entity of some kind. It was created like forbidden magics from another land and passed down general to general, and that it's usually sustained by the ether of the person who's using it.
I see.
It's basically just a fairy by another name. I guess.
Okay.
Yeah. That's it. And I was just like, well, that's a cool way to summon things. That's I thought about it.
Get that art team idea in there is really what it comes down to.
Exactly. I was just is that a monk summoner? Can I be a monk summoner? That's why I was.
All the scholars and summoners doing that fight just kind of like look over at their parry, their carbuncle, and they're like,
yeah.
Aw, I don't want you anymore. I want one of those.
Serious envy. Like,
why do you think they have all that carbuncle gear, right?
You're like flipping through your book, right? You're like, what page is that on?
Yeah, I must have missed that.
I want to order one of those from my catalog.
You're like, this is how it works now. Like Ranjit.
Yeah,
exactly.
You fight Ranjit and you go into Vothri's little throne room, and he's like, "Oh, I can't fight you guys. I'm out of here." And he's like tiny little wings,
hilarious wings,
slowly flying out the window.
Where's the rules?
Yeah. This whole time I'm thinking like any one of us could just like go up and grab his foot.
Could you imagine that cutscene as a machinist? Did you do it as a machinist? Because you could have just shot him.
I was aboard.
No, I went through it as Dragoon, but yeah. All right,
there's so many ways.
And then all of a sudden, he raises the peak of Mount Gold, and it's just like hovering there now, and you're like, that took a weird turn all of a sudden. Okay,
so cool.
Sure. and so then everybody kind of calms down in Yulmore, and they're like, oh wow, we ate Sin Eaters. That's kind of gross. And they're like, we need to help you guys get up there, and because we don't like him either now, and so we want to do something about it. And so you build the Game of Thrones elevator to go up the wall.
Yes,
that's what it is. That's
what it was already there. You fix it.
Yeah, that's true.
You fix it.
Yeah. Yep, definitely.
You get all the people together, and they help you fix it up. And then you get to meet the dwarves that are up on the top half of Galusia and Laliho. That.
I was so happy.
I love the first dialogue reaction. They're like, Laliho! And it's like, what did you call me?
Yeah, exactly. They just snuck that one in there.
So good. And you're like, all right, well, we need to like get up there somehow, right? Because it's this giant floating mountain peak. And this is where like the expansion got just absurd to me. They're like, let's make a giant Talos. And I'm like, from what? Like, how? What? Like how?
Ground. There's ground here.
It does. It's so weird. Like, and the way that they pitch it, like, oh, this is gonna take forever. It's like, but we have a bunch of people that could help. I'm like, it would still take forever, even with all of those people.
Like it's a monumental undertaking that's allegedly never been done before, but we can kind of pull it out of our ass with the stuff that's around us. Like now the onus is on them to explain how it's never happened before.
Right.
They didn't have the MacGyver from the source. We are MacGyver.
Yes. We went and got our paper clips from Rocktika, stuck them all over the rocks.
It's like they were putting the MSQ together, like piece by piece. Like, all right, we'll have like this floating mountain. It'll be really cool. Yeah, but then like, how do we get there? Oh,
I just thought
giant golem.
Yeah, I just thought we were gonna find the first Sid who was gonna repurpose an airship for us or something.
I was very surprised we haven't seen that yet. The first version of Sid.
It's just the beginning.
Yeah, it is just the beginning.
That's very true. But there's also we can't fly up there. We do know airships exist, right? Because Valkyrie had some, but we can't fly up there because of all the Detonators. So we need something else, and they decide to make a giant Talos. And so we do, and it just reaches its arm up and just kind of grabs the top of this beak. And we're like, all right, let's go. So absurd. It's so absurd.
It's fun.
God, what if they try to say it has happened before? Like, what if Koji just comes back like, you just didn't know about that time we turned Somal into a big rock'em sock'em robot?
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
That was the first thing I thought when it floated up in the air. I was like, we've seen this before in a different locale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and it's the thing that's really interesting too is you have these two antagonists, right? You have Valkyrie and then you have Emmett Silk. And it's like classic Final Fantasy versus modern Final Fantasy, right? You have this big guy who kind of transforms, goes up to this floating island, right? Yep. And then you have like this other guy who's like, you're like not quite sure what his motives are. He's bad, but is he? Like, it's his really, it's definitely.
Yes. Yeah. Arden the Asian. Yep.
Yep. So we go up to Mount Gulg, which I haven't heard any music comparisons yet, but I didn't feel like the music they had was a arrangement of the original Mount Gulg.
I don't believe it was.
I think it was. It sounded way different. I mean, there weren't any like hints that I picked up on because Mount Gulg was FF1, I think. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so I played enough theater rhythm to know that Mount Gulg has a song.
They could do what they did with stuff like Somal, or was it Somal that we had two of? I forget. There's some dungeons that we do 2 branches in. Maybe they'll do another branch.
That's very true. Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind going there.
Hope.
Yeah, for sure.
I don't want to be blind again. Like,
well, no, it'd be going into the mountain with the dwarves. Hopefully,
I disliked I've had the issue with the AoE markers on that white.
Oh yeah,
in Mount Gulg, that was rough. That was rough for me.
I'd been awake for 2 days solid. Got to this dungeon that is pure white, and I'm like, I can't play this game right now. Go to bed.
Why do they hate us?
Or it's like when you get to like the last floor of a treasure map dungeon, everything's gold, and you're like, dodge the orange AoE markers, and you're like, where? Where are they? I don't see them anywhere.
Like the same mistake I made where you're just like, this is a Square Enix game. There's going to be like an all worlds emergency maintenance. I'll nap then. And then 2 days later, you're like, is it coming?
Nope.
That was
really smooth. Really smooth launch. I was impressed.
I say it from time to time. I literally, and I don't mean figuratively, have played every AAA MMO that has come out since WoW. Literally. I'm crazy and I've done it. This is the smoothest launch I've ever seen. Yeah. Like, period.
Ever.
Literally. And I'm not hyperbole.
I was out of the game for maybe an hour from DDoS on like the second day. Yeah. That was it.
Me.
That's insane. Like that doesn't happen.
No. It's crazy. So we go up, we climb Mount Gulg in all of its whiteness. It's just it's such a weird. It's like an interesting dungeon because it's like obviously right. We have Valkyrie, who's we find out is half Sin Eater, who is it was all an Emmett Silk play the whole time. Go figure. But then you have like the structure on top of Mount Gulg. It's really weird where it's being created. Part of it's created, part of it's kind of like in process, but it's all this like white architecture, like makes me think of like Sin Eaters, right? Just that everything is white. It was really interesting to see that. I mean, it was a really cool looking area, minus how bright it was. But yeah, so you go through, you fight Valkyrie, and then you realize, oh, remember Innocence? They're like, oh yeah, this is a big thing in Shadowbringers. There's a trial and everything, and then you find out, oh, that's Valkyrie.
Yeah.
This whole time we're going through, I had forgotten about Innocence. And I was like,
the people I was playing with at the time definitely forgot too. And I was the first one to recall, and I went, oh no. And everybody's like, what? Like looking for AoEs. No. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's fine. Everything's fine.
You'll figure it out in a second.
He's just gonna look slightly more handsome here in a minute in the next phase.
Oh no, he's hot. Yeah.
No.
When did this happen? Why?
So yeah, it's so weird. I mean,
that same voice coming out of Griffith. Don't like it.
The fact that it was, Vothru was innocent this whole time, you're like, oh, okay. I mean, but again, going back to the idea of Vothru being the classic Final Fantasy villain, you needed a form change, right, into some godlike being, and
fair enough.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yep.
And so this is where the game starts to take a big turn. You fight off Vothru, you defeat Innocence, and he's the last Sin Eater, right? So you're going to absorb him, and the plan is G'raha Tia was going to come, pull all that light out of you, go off into the rift, and just die.
Yeah. The
light's gone. It's not an issue anymore. Everything's fine. The problem is Emmett Selk has a gun for whatever. All of a sudden he could do. He has a gun.
When you say it like that, it sounds a little silly.
I know there's a meme like, oh no, he has a gun. That I'm sure someone's done.
Could have stabbed him. He shows up as G'raha Tia is about to suck this light out of you, and he just shoots G'raha Tia in the back, just like, all right, we're done here. And so you still have all this light, like you're not having a good time with it because it's getting ready to burst. And so it eventually calms down a little bit, but Emmett takes G'raha Tia, and he's like, if you decide that you want to, I forget what was the line. It was because Emmett Selk wanted you to, you weren't what he thought you would be.
Yeah.
He was disappointed in you.
Yes.
Yeah, he was disappointed, and he's like, figure yourself out, and then come visit me in the Tempest. And then he leaves with Tia, and you're like, I don't know where the Tempest is. Could you give me a map?
Once again, someone says, "Hey, just follow this thing over to the Tempest," and then leaves you.
Yeah, just follow the path. What path? We're on a floating. What? Where did? Okay, he left. This is awkward. And so you're like, all right, well, we need to go to the Tempest. The Tempest is this. It's in the ocean, right? Yeah. So that's interesting. How are we gonna get there? There's no ferry from Yulemore. Mm-hmm. And so they're like, hey, go out to Lakeland. There's this island.
It's a whale.
You'll know it when you see it. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And it's the first version of Bismarck.
It made me so happy because the first thing I thought when I saw the island was, it looks like Bismarck.
Mm-hmm.
It's interesting because as I was just playing around, first starting Shadowbringers, right? I'm like, oh, what areas could I dive into the water in and stuff? And I'm checking out the island. I'm like, oh, that's a whale or something. That's weird. Hopefully that'll be brought up again, and not just sit there for 3 patches.
Yeah.
And it's Bismarck, and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then
he's also fairy.
Yeah, he's
also. Yeah, that's I feel with this expansion, right? We were talking about how whenever they need to explain anything on the source, right? It's oh, Alligans. On the first, we have what's that? No, Faye.
Don't worry about it. It's cool.
It's Faye. It's whatever. And you're like, hey, Bismarck, help us out. And Bismarck is like, no, dude, I was sleeping. I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And then you call in your good friend Faye All.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm the king. Get off your butt and help him. And he's like, I am so honored to see you. Okay.
I loved that bit with Urianger. He was like, oh, I'll talk to it. It's fine. I know Faye. It's fine.
Yeah. He's like, I got this. I'm Urianger.
Yeah. Just okay, cool.
A constant source of comic relief.
Oh, I love him.
Did you do side quests at all?
Yes.
There's a side quest where the fairies are trying to play a trick on him.
Yeah.
And you're helping them prepare this trick, and towards the end of it, you realize that the whole trick is that Urianger has tricked them into thinking they're tricking him by making him like tea and cookies.
Yeah. They're like, oh, he hates this stupid, dried leaves or whatever. We're going to put this in this horrible drink.
I want to see so much more. That could be a sitcom, right?
Yeah.
Do the Odd Couple, but it's Urianger and the Pixies.
I'd watch it.
That's what the Final Fantasy 14 TV show needs to be. It's just that.
I'm imagining one of those 90s ones, Perfect Strangers, or it's Roommates. Yes.
It's Full House, but it's just Urianger and a bunch of pixies.
I don't even know if we need the whole show. I just want to see like the opening sequence with the upbeat song.
Yes,
right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The Milkman, the Paperboy, and Urianger. Yep.
Oh man.
I have to give you that one. That one's just way too good.
That's good.
Yep.
Gosh, we're
Bismarck.
We're on our way to the Tempest.
very smart. Yeah, and so the whale starts to fly, and Fail's like, "Hey, make sure to like brush his teeth later, or something, as a sign of appreciation." I'm like, that's weird, but okay. That's fine. Yeah. And so then you go, and I love the cutscene for this when there's the guys at the dock in Kalusha, and you giant Bismarck flying whale, just and then the wave, and they're like running from the wave. I love that idea of just seeing it from like a normal person's perspective, right? Like obviously they were part of like the elevator group, right? Like, you know, they saw things have happened, but they're just chilling later, and they're just like, that's a flying whale. Huh.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
Interesting.
I think, I don't remember, in my brain during that part they were playing Eternal Wind from 3.
Yes.
Yeah. It hit me. Oh man, I love that song.
I love that track.
Yeah.
I mean, when they showed the full Shadowbringers opening, and they
went into, oh man, such a good song.
So
it was just the perfect song for that, like, adventure, you know. It was like never-ending story with Falcor.
Yeah.
Okay, so we go down to the Tempest. Bismarck's like, oh, hey, by the way, I don't know, one of you can breathe underwater. That's weird. Okay, for the rest of you, I'm just going to make this giant, like, air pocket at the bottom of the ocean. You can just play in that. Hopefully it'll last long enough for you to do what you need to do.
Yeah.
I do like there are portions of the ceiling that are just dripping water. Like,
yeah,
this isn't going to last forever.
It's a really cool zone.
Even though it probably is.
Yeah. It's weird because, like, you get to it, right? As a player, you're like, this is it. Like, this is the final.
Yeah.
You know, like, this is our Aziz Law, right? Or the locks. I mean, the locks were all right, but then you find out it's like half of it is like an empty Alamigo city, and you're like, eh. Like, Aziz Law, that's like peak and like last zone, right? So far. Then you get into the Tempest, and you're like, it's just an ocean floor.
It's like, who cares? Like,
there's nothing here. There's nothing here. Like, what's going on? Like, the music is nice. All right.
Yeah.
And then you run into the Sahakin, or on the first, what were they called in the first?
Ondo? God, I don't remember this.
Yeah, Ondo.
Yeah,
Ondo.
Ondo.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
Ondo.
I'm like, I'll say that, and hopefully somebody will know.
The town's called Ondo Cups, so I guess that makes sense.
Ondo Cups. Ondo, yeah. And so there's some weird
Yeah. I'm awful. I'm still calling everything like first X, like first Ulda, like first Sahakin.
Yeah.
I'm awful.
It's
the only one I remember is Mistel, because Mistel.
Yeah.
The Mikote Mistel.
Yeah.
That's the only one I remember. Because, like, when you screw something up, it's a Mistel.
I remember Elf.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even remember that one.
Yeah, see? It's like...
Dwarf?
Yeah.
Dwarf,
I mean,
yes.
I love that. That's so cool.
All the other ones, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know.
Hume? Are they Hume? Or Hure? Hure and Hume?
Hume. He was Hume. Yeah.
Yep.
Rogadin, I don't know.
I didn't even pay attention.
Was it Galgant? Or something like that?
Yeah, it was like Gadget, something like that.
Hrothgar or Ronso.
Yeah.
That's right.
And the Viera are something else with a V? Might just be V?
I think it is V.
That actually might be.
I think it's like VI or Vi.
Yeah,
or
VII maybe?
Yeah.
Moving on.
Yeah. We get to the bottom of the ocean, and the Unknown are just kind of like, hey, you took our water. That's kind of weird. Like, like they seem like
so nice about it.
Yeah.
Right? They seem very chill. They're like, I mean, that's cool. Like, I want to imagine, right, for anybody that's like watched any like Marvel stuff, like I feel like the Ondo are super chill, like the rock guy,
Korg or Meek?
Korg. like, oh, hey, like all of our water's gone, but that's cool. Like, I'm sure you had a good reason for it, buddy. Like, you know, like it's their Quark's personality. Like, so our queen needs to give birth. We don't really have the water for that. If you could do a couple quests for us and figure that out, that'd be great.
Yeah, be cool, because you did this, by the by.
I mean, they probably talk a little more like serpent-y, right? So it's not quite like adorable, but yeah, there's you find some architecture down there, and you're like, oh, that's weird. That's like a building. There's remnants of buildings, and they're like, yeah, like there's beyond the veil, like we need to like light some lanterns and stuff like that. And you're like, what's going on? This is weird. And then you get the reveal.
Yes.
Right. Which this is like one of the best parts of the game ever.
Yeah.
Is you go through the trench and you finally get to the other side of this kind of like wall that it's like a super like blur like effect filter. Like it's just, like I see some lights, I don't know what's going on. You go through this gate, and Emmett Selk has created this, I think Yoshida called it a mirage during the live letter. It's the Ascian city, the city from the original planet.
Yeah. And
it's just this huge cityscape, which is it's like a modernized city.
Very urban, like,
and you're just like, what the heck? Like,
and the music.
That cutscene when you get the first like view of it. I remember just sitting back and just being like, whoa.
Yeah.
Like, it's my favorite area in the whole game now. Like, music is great. It looks so good. And you get to
makes me think of animated series Batman Gotham mixed with Atlantis.
Yeah, basically.
I mean, with a little bit. Was it 13-2 where lightning and was it Caius were fighting, and the weird kind of wavy parts of the architecture, I feel like some of those were in that game.
I'm gonna believe you, because I don't know.
Right?
I could be misremembering everything. I don't know, but I feel like that was something. It's something about that seemed familiar. But yeah, you go in there and Emmett Selk's just like, like, so here's the reality. I'm gonna lay it out for you. I'm super depressed. Everybody I knew is dead. I'm trying to get them back, and I miss everybody. So I recreated my city at the bottom of the freaking ocean.
It was so cool walking through it and talking to all the inhabitants. The kind of made up ones that he made.
That's the craziest part. Is you go down there and you have like these ancients, I guess. Was there another name for him, Moose, or are we just?
I just call them the ancients.
Yeah,
ancients. Okay.
Yeah,
it's a very Final Fantasy term to use.
Yes.
Everyone's kind of using different words for them. Some people are using the word Ascian, which is not correct.
Not correct.
Yeah.
People are referring to the race as Amaratine, which is probably not correct, because there were other societies out there.
Right. Yeah.
I'm just calling them ancient.
Yeah.
And of all like the Art Deco vibes, I definitely just like calling it Rapture. Like,
yes,
it's very BioShock to me.
Yes.
Well, it's but then you got to be careful. You call it Rapture, and then all I can think about is Crystarium, because Crystarium is Rapture.
The irony.
Yeah.
Multiple Raptures going on in Shadowbringers.
There's always a man. There's always a lighthouse.
Someone's like, our language only has 400,000 words, and only like 1% of them are cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so you get down to Amaranth, and it's weird because you're like, this is really strange, and then you actually find out that in part it's inhabited, right? There's like these kind of not quite ghosts, but they're like, it's all like a simulation, right? Of people that used to live there and how they acted and all this stuff, and you find out that they're like actually kind of tall, like they're like giant almost.
They think you're a child.
Yeah, they think you're a child. They're like, do you need us to walk you home, child? Like.
It's like, why aren't you wearing robes?
Some bad stuff's been going down. You should probably go home.
It's really wild. I mean, and I would love to have been a fly in the room, right? When they're like, all right, so all these Ascian questions, how are we gonna, like, what is this cult, and how do we answer this? All right, so check this out. They used to live in this big, like, giant modernized city. It's just, it's such, I can't imagine that this was ever their plan. Right, for the Ascians, like they probably took elements and then weaved it into this modern Final Fantasy aesthetic, because it's so crazy. Like it's definitely like a lot of like Final Fantasy 15 vibes, right? you have like this modernized city. You've got Emmett Selk, who, you know, and I said back in 4.x, right? I'm like, I didn't like Arden in 15. I don't like Arden in 14. But I really love
I was right.
Emmett Selk now. Yeah, it's the way that they've explained the story is crazy. I mean, they explained so much too, but just that little bit that we went through Amaranth. They're like, yeah, so we have a thing here. It's called creation magic. If you ever wondered how literally anything came to be, that was us. We just thought about it. We patented it, and now it's a thing. They're like, would you like to try creation magic? Make a robe, and they like give you a lightning cluster, and you just can't make a robe. You just don't have it in you because they had so much aether in their being. And you find out that there's basically like this council of 14 that kind of, you know, lead everything in Amarat. One of them is not there anymore, so there's only 13 right now. You know, people on the council include such people as La Habrea, Elidibus, Emmett Selk, and you're like, okay, so these guys were just all right. They were government.
So mad at the math.
Yeah,
like the numbers don't line up at all.
No.
Like, not even like even just putting Elidibus on the 14 is like what?
Why?
Yeah.
Well, like you just had like the 2.3 scene is just gibberish at this point, like where they're all talking in the chrysalis. Like,
yes,
I am so excited to see how they tie up the math because this is wild.
Yeah, some weird stuff is definitely going on, but it's so
Time
interesting
travel.
too. Like,
no, they can't. Can they? No, they can't.
Yeah,
because they're confused as to why.
Very surprised about what Tia did with the crystal tower. He's like,
time travel.
I didn't know it could do that.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that in a few here with the Twin Dungeon. But yeah, you're going through Amarat. You're going through. It's essentially you need to get some pass. It's almost feels like you're having to get like a passport approved, right? You're like, oh, we want to go see Emmett Selk. All right, well, go over to this government office and get this approved.
Bureaucracy at work, yeah.
And then you run into. I wrote down the name because there was no way I was going to remember it. Hyflodius, who, you're like waiting for your papers to get approved, and he's like, "Oh, like, mind if I sit here?" And you're like, "All right." Which it's funny because like you're like standing on this giant bench, right? And he just comes over and sits down next to you. It's like you're a doll that somebody left behind.
Yeah.
And like, hey, so here's a little fun fact for you. I'm aware of what this is.
Yeah.
Also, you and Ardbert are part of the same person. So there's that.
Yeah.
Guess what?
Yeah.
It really was everything that got split into 14.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. And so now the theory, right, is that we are that 14th member of that Ascian group that was also split into 14, and we found Ardbert, so we've got one of us back to rebuilding ourselves, right? Which is a little crazy.
If you wander around the city, there are a handful of the ancients that are like, "Do I know you?"
Yeah, like you're familiar somehow.
The little hints are really fun.
Yeah, they're great.
Yeah, the one line
title was ours.
Yeah,
I just want to know which title was ours.
Yes. Yeah. That'd
Like,
be
watch
nice.
us be one of the two extras that weren't in 12, and they have to like make up a name for us.
You know what I really like is
someone.
Go
ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, I saw someone doing like fan art where they took the 12 tattoo that's on our back and made it like the red glowing thing in front of our face, and I was like, no.
Yeah, I was looking at that too, and then there's a lot of arguments because it's like, well, that's supposed to be given to us by Louisville. It's not really, and I'm like, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. That would be pretty amazing.
Yeah.
Just be him bringing out the thing that was already there.
He transported us, and it just somehow
he just scanned the back of your mind and was like, "Is there any symbol that has any kind of meaning for you?" And you're like, "Yeah, this thing that I totally don't know anything about."
Cool. Gotcha.
Hyflodius says, "There's a quote: in our time, the two of you were one. The color of your souls tells the tale." Because he knows that Ardbert's there, which is super weird because nobody else has seen Ardbert. Nobody knows he's there. and then you eventually go to confront Emmett Selk, and he's like, all right.
Just to insert that idea that I held off a second ago, I think it's interesting that there were 14 of them, and one of them was like, nah, I'm out. We've seen that before with the Knights in Ishgard.
Yeah, that's true.
There were a bunch of them, and one of them was like, nah, we're doing the wrong thing. I'm out.
Yeah.
So watch for that. See if it shows up again.
Yeah.
Who our soul was in another life.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean,
maybe that's going to be Yoda's question. We're the one that threw Thornton into the chasm all those years ago.
That would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Stirring up trouble.
Yeah.
I mean, look, like, we're not gonna get this crazy rejoining, right? Like, it's not gonna happen in the lifespan of 14, right? It's realistically, development wise, it won't happen. But I could definitely see a big plot point going forward being to collect the other 12 shards of us.
Yeah,
right.
So that we can do something.
So
somehow,
what about the void? What if little kid is the last piece of us? What if that's the reason they lived?
Could be.
Because I can't remember his name.
I want to bring this up because I had this thought a lot during Shadowbringers, and I want to throw this to Moose just as like a crazy what if.
Yeah.
So we're absorbing all the light, all the light guys, right? All the light wardens.
Yeah.
What would happen if we just like went over to the void and we're just like, go ahead, run free?
Probably say, oh well. I mean, if we went over to the void, that's a real question, because like probably 10 times since this came out, I've had accusations that like things that happened in this scenario were supposed to fix the void, and it's like that was definitely never said.
No.
But, wouldn't you just be feeding the void scent? Because they are void scent now, and they eat Aetheryte. Right?
You probably, maybe, unless one of the light wardens was able to possess the essence of what a void scent was. Even though it didn't have like a corporeal body. Like I mean, these rules are kind of made up on the fly for part of this. And I don't want to be like, well, precedent says, when this entire expansion was just spitting in precedent's face. Like anything is possible. We could fix the void even if it hasn't come up yet, but you'd figure they would have come up.
We might get some hints with Eden for this, and we'll get into that.
I'm hoping
a little bit.
Tries off a few things.
Yeah.
Again, we've still got 5.1 to 5.6.
Yeah. We got a lot to go through yet for Shadowbringer. So we finally confront Emmett Selk, and he's like, "Oh, like you're still kind of like broken, and you know your soul is cracked from all the light and stuff." And this is kind of like gearing up towards the final confrontation. He's like, all right, like, come follow me. And he basically takes you into the dungeon Amarat. And this is, I think, a really interesting scene, because one of the big, like, you think Final Fantasy and like big images that stick out, right? You have Sephiroth like coming out of the flames.
Yeah.
Emmett Selk is walking into the flames.
Yeah.
When he opens the door, and then you get into Amarat, and it's just, this is how everything was destroyed. Like, this is what we went through. Just like prayer gives, manifest to primals. Like, we were thinking some really bad, scary stuff, and that came to life and started to kill us. Like, it's dark and it's just crazy. And I think it's probably one of my favorite set pieces for a dungeon.
Yes,
because they just throw it all at you. And so as you're going through this dungeon, like that one line I just said is probably one of my favorites, because it's like for the first boss, I think it was, in the dungeon.
Yeah.
And you just through and you're just like, oh, like, yeah, it sucks. Like, I'm sorry you went through that. Like, I know you're like the bad guy, but man,
that sucks. And it really explains why they had the bureaucracy in the first place, because unchecked, look what it did. Like, if they didn't have that bureaucracy in the first place,
it probably screwed up their planet.
Yeah.
It's interesting too, because I mean, you get towards the end. I need to plug my headset in before
our
it dies.
Planet.
Yep. I just heard the beep. The control panel said I had 4 hours. It lied. But you get to the point in the dungeon where you go through the city. You're watching it burn. You fight off the guys, and you end up getting this kind of like orbital view of just the whole planet, just like on fire, meteors and all this kind of stuff. And I'm wondering, like, meteor showers, where have we seen those before?
It'd be so salty if that's what it comes back to. It's so like it's such an obvious retcon, but at the same time you just want a golf clap. Like,
yeah, because
you
brought it together. You finally brought it together.
Right.
And then you get to the boss, which is Therion. And it's funny because just the whole idea of like, oh yeah, like, you know, stuff was going bad, and then we were scared, and our being afraid made other things, which made things worse. And it's like, there's got to be somebody that's like, Frank, did you just make that thing, that Therion thing? What is that? I don't know, man, but it's scary as hell, isn't it? Yeah, you just doomed us all, Frank, with your creation magic. That thing,
yeah.
Like, and then I also wonder, like, Ghostbusters, right? You have the end of the first Ghostbusters. Zool is like, you know, what you're gonna like fight, like whatever you think of, like it's gonna prey off their fears or something. Yeah.
buddies.
Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. Yeah. Was there, like, I would love a side quest or a dungeon that just goes completely ridiculous, and it's like, yeah, so like during this, like, this one guy thought of something like really like cute and cuddly, but it was still like terrorizing everybody, and you need to go and put it down.
Yeah. I loved this because of the creation magic and all that, and just the tie-in to primals and why they can exist. Yeah. Because it's a use of creation magic, you know, and it's just, I don't know. Like, of course, they were putting things together as they were laying the tracks in front of the train, but man, when you get there and you hit that, you're like, oh. I
would be really curious to see what the energy amount is like. So, like, all the Beastman tribes, they use crystals to summon primals. Yeah. How many crystals do I need? Just as it, you know, I'm just curious to make a rope. Because I don't have enough ether, so I need an outside source.
Yeah.
So, like, if I go to the Ummal, I'm like, hey, can I just get, like, what, a third? Half? Yeah. How many crystals do I need? I just want to make a robe.
I actually posed this question to some of my crafter friends because I wasn't 100% sure. Like, is that what we do when we craft now? Is that why we use crystals?
Time I've heard that come up, but
yeah, because they do give you a cluster, right, from that quest.
But we're also using like a hammer and stuff. So
right, when crafting was first introduced, they told us that the aether that was in the crystal was imbalanced towards an elemental facet, and that all we were doing was getting like one that was like parsimonious to the craft we were doing. So if we needed heat, we would get a fire crystal and then release the ether in that crystal, and then we would make use of the heat that came out along with it. So all we were doing was like, fire crystals were for heating, ice crystals were for congealing, wind crystals were for cutting, lightning crystals were for like dematerializing stuff, for cutting things. Like, they all had uses, and that we were just using them to circumvent things like, you know, forges and stones and like when we, with our tools, that's what was happening.
Yeah, but it really, if you were a civilization like they were, just by the use of creation magic, like it really explains, you know, like, you know, going around through Amarat, it's like there's no nothing. Like, there's no, what are the services? You just make everything. It's crazy. It's so awesome.
There's such like a chill civilization. They're like, hey, like their big thing, like, I'm bored, let's go have a debate. They have like a place you can rent rooms to debate people. Like, we listen to jazz and we have debates. Like, that's welcome to Amarat.
I want to see the society on the other side of the sea where this all started, though.
Yeah, because there were other civilizations on that original shard.
Like, we're the stewards of the planet, and it's just kind of like, says who? And then they have a debate about whether it's okay to interfere with other sovereign nations, and it's just kind of like,
it's really interesting. Was there just like a continent of dwarves that are like, look at those lollyhos over in Amarat making their eagle lions and their robes.
For all we know, this is just like a super biased worldview, and they're like, Team Amarat, world police. And like, I mean, I even have doubt when I walk in and they're like, hi, welcome to Utopia. It's a giant bureaucracy fractal with like thought police.
Yeah.
Okay.
Seems good, right?
But I'll give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm curious what we'll know.
was another interesting thing too. Amarat is in Utopia. Amarat is the capital of Utopia. Yep. And also later on, one of the post-MSQ dungeons, you have the academic Aetheryte. Aetheryte River was another reference to Utopia. So some very interesting things in there. And I nothing is ever quite as it seems, right? So I really hope, I don't even care about like the first or the source anymore. Just spend the rest of 5.x in Amarat. Like, I'm there. Like, just give me an apartment. Like, I'll just chill down there.
Yeah. Maybe the writing team, maybe all of these things are named after Utopia because that's how Amarat saw it. That's how Emmett saw it.
Yeah.
Because it really was.
Yeah, absolutely.
Everything is points of view in this game, down to who the bad guy is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So,
of course,
you go through of the Amarat dungeon. You fight Thurian, who's introduced as the Chthonic Riddle, which has an underworld kind of tie to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you go up against Emmett Selk, and you find out that
echoes of Berserk.
He's not Emmett Selk. He's actually Hades, because he's the one that's kind of responsible for trying to bring back everybody. Because when they made Zodiark to help not, make the planet not explode and die and all this stuff, they're like, all right, so we got good news and bad news, everybody. The good news is we think we found a way to save everybody. The bad news is by everybody, I mean half.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a lottery. Half of you are going to die. Just kidding. We need another half. And then somebody's like, you know what? This is BS. I'm making my own primal over here. I'm going to call it Hydaelyn. We're going to stop your Zodiark. And that's when we get the shard split.
Yeah.
And so when Hades
primals fought.
Yeah, Hades is the one responsible for it. I mean, at the core of it, right? Simplifying it, it's just he just wants his friends back. He just wants his people back. And it's like it gets you like another one of those like emotional punches. And so you fight Hades. And then at the end, like, everyone's down, right? Because he does some stuff. You're all having a bad day of it. Mm-hmm. And you have an Ardbert moment.
Yeah.
He comes up and he's like, if you had the energy to take one more step, could you finish this? And so he gives you his axe. You come up, and then you, the Warrior of Light, talk via Ardbert's voice.
Yes.
And then Tia comes up out of nowhere, and he's like, all right, let's like summon some like buddies. And you get the 7 rings around you for a full party.
Yep.
To fight actual like Hades. And it's just like that scene was the most badass feeling.
So good.
So good. Like the funniest part to me was that like when it first started, when Tia shows up behind him and they like start giving the speech about like killing God with the power of friendship and shit again.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God, this is so contrived. And then all of a sudden the 7 pillars of light appear around you, and then the trailer hits, and I'm like, oh, like really got
that. And again, I think it's one of these things where the longer you've played, the more impactful it becomes. Our character doesn't talk. We click a button and its mouth moves. Our character is not voice. It has battle sounds. It doesn't talk. And so when you have that moment, probably a little stranger for like a female character.
Sure.
Yeah.
The idea of like, and it was funny because I remember watching Friends, and they would like do the scene. They had a helmet on. I'm like, no, take the helmet off.
Yeah.
But it's just like you talk, and it's just like you're like, oh, dude. And
so during that part, I guess everybody else I was with was like, oh, 7 others, it's like a full party. I thought that those 7 pillars of light were for the 7 worlds that had already been rejoined and the pieces of you that were already rejoined.
I thought it was going to be other pieces of me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And he was going to make us like super powerful or something. Yeah. That's what I thought first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense they did it that way too. But that's what I was like. I was like, oh my God. For sure. That's exactly what I thought was going to happen.
I saw 7 and I'm like, those are, I don't know where he's summoning them from, but I am the Warrior of Light, and those are the people who can help me. Like, not that they are pieces of me, but this explains, every time we have to go fight something, we have 7 other people. Well, who are those 7 other people? They're not Warriors of Light. I mean, they are technically, but they are not me. So I just thought it was just
it would be interesting if they went the route of like, actually, like, those 7 other people are reflections of you, but they couldn't easily do that because that would mean they would have had to come from another star, and that's no, that's not going to work.
The words that Tia used when he did it were the same words that he used to refer to like us coming from the source. So it sounded like he was just like, hey, like Warrior of Light, think of like who you would need to finish this off. And we'll just hold you as a beacon. And he held that possibility off as like a trump card for that moment.
Yeah.
But like the idea of like where our other shards are, that's killing me. Like some people that every time there's a rejoining, like whoever died, that piece of their soul just finds wherever their soul is on the source right now and merges into it. So we were already 7 and now we're 8. That's what some people think. Some people think that the Urianger explanation from back in 3.1 is still in play. So like maybe there are multiple shards of us still living on the source right now that are like all different ages and places. I have no idea.
Yeah, who knows?
We'll find out in 3 or 4 years.
Well, and again, we.
Go ahead.
We, I brought up that idea of realistically, right within the lifespan of 14, development-wise, we're not going to go to all the shards. We're not going to reclaim one of us from each shard. If they're just kind of hanging out on the source, done. You know what I mean? Like, they could do that way.
It does seem like they airlifted the Warriors of Light off of the void when it collapsed, because now we've met 2.
Yeah.
Assuming you've done the role quests.
Yes.
Okay.
You have to do the role quests.
Well, you have to do all of the
final one.
Oh, no. So I haven't done all the.
So
when you do the final one, there's going to be another character kind of like going to call high.
Yep.
So that's like the second person they've airlifted off the 13th.
Interesting. I've been slowly working on jobs, so eventually I want to do that.
All of them, it's okay. It was just so cool. Like
the final one is really good. They tell you all about like how the calamity happened and who the Shadowkeeper was and what Mitron and Logr were doing. And
maybe I'll put Samurai on hold and pick up Red Mage.
Yeah, right. Get all of them done. Yeah.
So we fight Hades. We defeat Hades. We throw the giant axe through him. Thancred takes the what was the crystal thing?
The white orosite.
White Orosite, and like throws it up in the air and like slashes it, and it like shards into Hades. Like, it's really cool.
Yes.
And you defeat him, and he's got this big hole in him, and all he just looks at us and goes, "Remember us." Yep. And you're just like, damn.
Why would you do this to me?
And then you look at Tia, and he's pretty banged up. He was shot in the back not too long ago.
Yeah.
And
it's fine. He's made of crystal and stuff.
You can just be like, hey, it's good to see you awake, buddy. And then he gets the waterworks going, and then you get the waterworks going, and then you go back to the Crystarium, and everybody's welcoming you, and then it pans through a pillar, and you see Ardbert walking towards his party.
Yes.
Man.
That particular part right there. Like, I was good. I was doing a lot of but that part I was like.
And the camera just moves over, and you're just like, damn it, they got me again. One more. They got one more in at the end.
Stab you. Just stab you.
Yeah. And there you go. I mean,
there's the post-credit scene too.
There is. So there's trickled throughout 5.0. Get a little bit of what's going on the source. Justinian and our buddy Gaius are hanging out because we're not there. And so they're dealing with Garlemald. They're hanging out on the city streets, talking on the street corners, like the shady guy from Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
Noir.
Noir.
And then at the end, we see them infiltrate the throne room, and our good old buddy Elidibus is not in. Was it Varus? No. Not Varus. Xenos. Varus is the emperor.
Yeah. That is Xenos now.
Yeah.
So Xenos is now Xenos. He's no longer mind Xenos. He's no longer body Xenos. Xenos is Xenos. He kills his dad.
Yeah.
And we have Elidibus just kind of on the moon, going back again, the moon, just chilling on the moon, talking about like, oh, I'm all that's left now. Oh, you're the warrior of darkness. I'm gonna make warriors of light fight you. And then we see Gaius and Xenos clash, or just about clash, right? They're like 2 seconds away.
Yeah.
And it just black cut, and you're just like, ah! Like,
why would you do this to me?
Right? I think it'd be badass if 5.1 MSQ starts off with roleplay as Gaius.
Oh man.
Immediately,
I don't
just right into the fight.
Just right into it. Just right into it. I don't want him to die. If I could stress that. I don't know if it's too late. Developers, don't kill Gaius. Don't bring him back to kill him.
Yeah,
please.
don't do that.
Guy's a good death for it, but I don't think they're anytime soon.
It's weird because he's like still oddly loyal. To like it's weird. So I don't know where that'll go, but we still have some other stuff to go over. Speculating. There's 2 post MSQ dungeons. One is the Academia in here, which is really cool. It takes you through, which is basically like kind of like almost like a school, right?
Yeah.
You're going through classrooms.
Like an academy.
Yeah.
There you go. That works too.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, one of those things.
Anyway, so you're going through. It's cool because each kind of section of it is marked by the Ascian emblems, like the same kind of emblems they use on their mask. Like they're using those to distinguish because it was like a title that they had, like their position, right?
Yes.
You go through, you fight some sharks, you fight some plants, and then at the end,
I love the sharks so much.
Sharks. All I could think about was like King Shark from The Flash.
Street sharks.
Street sharks, constantly.
Street sharks. Oh my god, I forgot about street. Well, that's all I'm gonna think about now. Street sharks.
I've planted this dude. Yes.
Get to the end, and there's some documents scattered throughout the dungeon, and it's this guy talking about like how he wants to make something to protect people or whatever. And you get to the end, and there's the one like right before you get there, and he's like, "Yeah, I want to like make this guardian force," and I'm like, "Oh,
guardian force, guardian force."
Like that's a term I'm familiar with.
Yes.
Hello, GF. Equip.
Yeah.
You get to the boss, and it's freaking Quetzalcoatl, and I'm just like, yes.
I freaked out.
Right?
You see the word Guardian Force on your screen during the cutscene.
Little title card, just Guardian Force. I'm like, it's yours. Like it's canon now. It's in there. Like,
I was doing that fight for the first time when I was in chat with Charles.
Yep.
And the boss came up, and I was like, oh, and I really wanted to talk about it, but I'm like, I can't ruin it for him. Guys, don't talk about this. You're gonna love it.
I had the same thought. I actually started typing a message to him. I'm like, dude, I'm like, wait, I don't know where you are. I'm gonna be good.
Yeah, because I was a little bit behind.
I know how I reacted, so I want to make sure I let you have that moment. Like, my favorite guilty pleasure out of all this Shadowbringer stuff is like being able to watch people I know that stream.
Yeah.
Get to Amarant for the first time, or do that last cutscene with Hades and stuff. Like watching people's reactions to that, like it gets me like super hyped all over again. Like it's so good. So you have that. You have the academic meter. The second dungeon we have is the twinning, which actually takes you into the Crystal Tower, but then it takes you down, and you see all this stuff that we haven't seen before for the tower. And as you're going through, you're finding these documents talking about things like Alexander and Omega, and you're like, this is really strange. Like, what's this about? And you get into the final room where you fight the Tycoon, which is basically an Ironworks made Alexander. And the story that this dungeon tells is basically how they had this tower come back in time in order to prevent the calamity. And it's, it's what was it? It was Wedge.
Yeah.
Was it Biggs?
It was like
Biggs,
the third of his name,
third of his
name.
And it's crazy, and you have this realization that it's one of those things where it's like, maybe we planned it this way, maybe we didn't, but they're all connected now. Yeah. And they're just like, Alexander, Omega, the throne that Zan used to sit on. We made all those connect, and that's how the tower came here.
I was really grateful that it was that complex too.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, when people were first talking about it, they were just like, well, we've seen the Crystal Tower open gates to shards before, so obviously that's how we're going to get to the first. I'm like, but it's so much easier to open a gate to the void than any of the other shards, because there's nothing on the other side. You have to cut through one-way dead membrane. That's fine. That's like, and even then they required Dalima to do it to real capacity. So, so the idea that they would like had to take that technology and then augment it by Alexander's time travel to get into the rift and then come back into it.
I love that it's literally taking everything we've done and
I
connecting.
Like that this whole time we've been like, Alexander didn't have anything to do with anything, and they're like, oh yeah?
But guess what? He's a part of the
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, right.
You know what, we did actually briefly touch on this a year ago when we first started seeing trailer things. Like, oh, they're talking about time travel. Maybe Alexander is important.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm glad.
So excited. Like, these two dungeons are the best post MSQ dungeons we've ever had. Period.
Oh yeah, hands down. And it's funny. I remember when we were at the media tour. They play the music that they use in the twinning. Is played part of the battle abilities.
So
and I was like this is Crystal Tower mashed up with Escape. Like, what the hell is this track and where is it used? And my initial thought was like maybe 4.5. The ending of it sucked so bad because they're jumping us into a level 70 dungeon and it's like the Crystal Tower or it's Escape or something, and it's gonna have this crazy opening.
Yeah.
Other end of 5.0, but yeah, like it was just it's so good.
It blows the mind. It's just how good the twinning is. Like, you just go and it's like, okay, we're just gonna go on a romp down in Crystal Tower and kill some stuff. And then when you actually see it and you do it, and then the message afterwards,
it's like the message. But it's
and
like
again,
think about Gimlet Dark and then think about this. It's like that was done poorly and this was done well.
Yeah. And it's another one of those things where the more you've played, the better it is by like a crazy amount. Like it's so good. Then we'll go over this. I know we're just about at what we wanted for time, but we just had Eden's Gate left. There's not too much for that.
Yeah, not much. Well, kind of.
kind of not. Maybe another 15, 20 minutes. But is everybody good on time for that before we...
Sure.
Okay. So then we get to Eden's Gate. We didn't know much about Eden, right? Then they announced it. They're like, yeah, Eden is the raid. There's a flower in a white field. Everyone was like, oh, FF8. Maybe. You know, fingers crossed. We don't know. They've twisted raids a lot before, you know. So we get out there. We take this was it the Sky Slipper? Was that what they called it? I think that's right. Yeah. We take this thing out to the burn. We set up a camp, and then the music starts. They play the overworld.
Yeah, Blue
theme.
Fields.
Yeah. Blue Fields from 8, and you're just like, I'm in. Like, let's do this.
I don't care what's happening anymore.
My body is ready. Let's do this. And you go in. You're like, all right, we don't know what Eden is. Maybe it's a light warden. Maybe this thing is, you know, part of the story, right? Leading in is to figure out what exactly Eden is. You go in there, and you're going to take control of Eden. But to do that, you need to fight Eden Prime, which is Eden from 8, complete with like the summoning animation from 8. With the rearranged battle music from 8.
As
soon as I entered that instance for the first time, I needed a minute. Like I think I clipped it. I think I streamed it on here too. So if you go into our clips, I'm embarrassed to say I named the track wrong.
Oh, that's fine.
Battle theme. There's two. There's like 2 battle
there are 2.
I was like, oh my god, like that's one. Go back, and I'm just like, dude, like that's all the clips are, just me like going back and go, dude, like, so good. It's so good. By Eden, and then you kind of get control of stuff, and then something shows up on the top of Eden, and you're like, oh, well, we don't want that. And so Reen is talking with Eden and kind of figuring out how Eden works. She's like, I'm gonna make you a platform to stand on. I'm like, oh, that's very considerate of you. If you could add rails, that would be great. Doesn't add rails. It's okay. We'll work on it
next time.
There, and it's like this weird. It's like a void scent, but like carrying a body. It's a kind of a weird. It reminded me of from 8. Was that Adele? You fought there.
One
of the sorceress fights where it's like holding the body.
Yeah.
It was something I didn't think about at the time. Somebody else had pointed out, and I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Oh yeah.
You're fighting her on the top of this thing, and then like void scent starts showing up, and you're like, this is weird. And And so you fight the monster off, and the character comes down. They haven't revealed who it is yet. It's probably Gaia.
Yeah, we kind of know.
And she's kind of like, what am I doing here? Like, this is weird. And then she just kind of passes out, and the rest of the first branch of Eden, she's just in a tent.
Yep.
So I'm kind of bummed we didn't get a little bit more. We get a smidge more right at the end. But as you go through, you're like, all right, well, we got control of Eden. We want to try and restore the elements, right, to this area. How can we do that? We need to be able to call the elements forward somehow, but we also need to like put them in check. Primals. Let's make primals and then beat the primals, and there we go. Problem solved. And you're like, this is really messed up, but I'm down. Like, let's. Yeah.
Isn't this the opposite of what we normally? Okay.
Oh, okay.
Right. Yeah. And so they're like, all right, what do we need to restore first? Water. Water is the source of all life. Okay. Go summon Leviathan. You want me? You're sure?
All right.
Okay. And so it was a really interesting way the way they did this. They're like, all right, just think about your fight with Leviathan. Like, easy on a boat, head, tail, zipping around a little bit. Sure, Leviathan. You get down there, it's a two-headed Leviathan. You're like, I really need to quit whatever I'm on. This is not.
Our memory is bad.
There's a lot that we get raised. Maybe there's some lasting damage somewhere there.
Right. And then
of unaddressed trauma.
You do Leviathan, and exactly. You're like, all right, now we need Titan. And it's funny because you get dialogue options and a few of these. You're like, what do you remember about Titan? And one of the options was like the landslides. Oh, the landslides.
The 1,000-yard stare and then landslides.
And the Titan's like super weird. It's like a Titan with a mix of like some of the gears on it kind of remind me of the Hecaton chair design from FF13 a little bit. Not all the arm, but just like the armor design. At some point, he gets like a go-kart.
It's his Tonka. It's his Titan Tonka.
Yeah, Titan Tonka.
And I loved all the reactions that first week of people and stuff, and they're like, "What is wrong with us?" Like,
is it just like is this how we're remembering a mining cart? Like
like a mine cart. I mean,
remember
Leviathan
being run over and over again.
They actually addressed this during the live letter. Somebody asked, after trying out Eden, I was shocked by the Warrior of Light's imagination. How on earth did they come up with that version of Leviathan and Titan? Ushia said maybe it was something like Leviathan was patched 2.1, 2.2. He was attacking from 2 locations. Was that a head, tail? And I think it mixed with the Shinryu mechanic and became something like that. Perhaps the Wandering Minstrel was also influenced by how the Warrior of Light described them, and that's how things turned out to be so difficult. Titan is likely due to Thancred being bringing up the topic of falling, which probably got mixed in with explosions and goblin tanks. All I can think about is like, how did they decide to come up with this stuff? Right? Yes. Was it like, were they just like, all right, we're just gonna like make a list of like pieces of paper with just like random elements from the game, random boss fights, and it's like, all right, Titan, goblin tanks, falling. Like, how did they come up with the like? It's so strange. I'll be really curious to see what the other. I'm really looking forward
with different crap on every side.
Yeah, because what elements do we have left to think about? I mean,
fire, ice, wind, thunder.
Yeah, that's it, right?
Yeah,
I think it's just going to be the main 6 we see in every game.
Yeah,
so it's going to be like each of the 3 segments is going to be 2 primals and then 2
something
that are related to Gaia somehow.
I could see that. Yeah, that would make sense. It's weird that like Titan is like the last fight. I think like when a lot of people came out, they're like, Savage will have to be like reversed, and I'm like, well, that would be weird too, but okay, it's not, but yeah, it was interesting to see. And so, you defeat Leviathan, you defeat Titan, and now you have water and earth restored to this little section of where you are. So I don't know where they're going, and it closes out to we end up going back to town. We're like, all right, we're done out here for a while. If we're out here too long, we're gonna go crazy. Literally, we're gonna go crazy if we're out here too long. We go back, and then Urianger and Shilla are chatting because Urianger Urianger, no more secrets, okay? All right, sure. Hey, Y'shtola, don't tell anybody. But I think this person that we found is the Oracle of Darkness.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, okay.
Oh yeah, we probably shouldn't tell him. Okay, great. I'm like, Urianger, I hate you so much.
Yeah, come on.
Like it's tiring at this point. Oh, Urianger has a secret. Really?
Well, this is again for us letting him almost drown after we leave Amarat. Like, because he and Alphino are like, I can't swim, and we just washed up on the beach. That scene at the end where everybody just washes up because nobody thought to like give them
maybe
a pager for
if you'd been helping
Bismarck.
us in the Ruby Sea instead of screwing around, Urianger, you could swim, breathe underwater
That's
too.
True. That's true.
There you go. But yeah, I mean that was I think the bulk of Eden. Was there any points from Eden that you wanted to bring up specifically, Moose?
Not really. I mean, Eden was mostly what I consider to be hooks. Like, I could try to speculate on what it's going to be, but very obviously it's not going to be based on what we've seen before. It's going to be based on what they want to unfold as the shock in Layer 3.
Yeah.
And I have no idea even what Nomura-san would have in mind for Gaia or Oracle of Darkness could even mean, because we just learned the term Oracle of Light, and it was something to do with Minfilia's reincarnations. So who the hell is this? Is this Elidibus's reincarnations? Are they just pulling the name out of thin air? Like, I have no idea.
What does it even mean? Is it truly a mirror of the Oracle of Light, or is it something else? Like, wow, I don't know.
We'll find out.
All the predictions we made based on seeing like the Warrior of Light in the trailer, like engulfed in the abyssal flames of darkness, and then we got to the first, and it was just like, oh, it's semantics. You're still light. It's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bugged me so much. I'm like, your whole selling point is like become the Warrior of Darkness, and it's like,
they do this on occasion though. Remember like how half the promo for Heaven's Word was like, we're so dark, we're so serious, we killed Nanamo, and then like 5 minutes into the game we're like, we're just kidding, Nanamo's fine.
Yeah. Although to be fair, we don't necessarily become the Warrior of Darkness, but we do rejoin with the Warrior of Darkness.
That's true.
That's true.
Some more semantics for you. Some more semantics.
Warrior of Light and Darkness.
Warrior of Gray Area.
We don't like to play sides. We're a little bit of both.
Yeah, exactly.
We're the Warrior of Independence.
Or the Warrior of Balance.
There you go.
There you go. Everything perfectly balanced. All right.
Even any other game? Like I'm like equal parts worship and cynicism.
Yeah, it's so good, but it's also so what is happening.
Were there any other points we wanted to touch on with either MSQ or Eden? I know there's a lot.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of stuff that I feel like I wanted to say, but there was just no room for. But like, I want to praise how well they've brought together all of the stuff that they probably never intended to come together in this way.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And how much of it makes sense in context, which means that while they were writing it, they thought about it.
Yeah.
Like, so on one hand, you have villain decay. Like, La Habrea is nowhere near as badass as he seemed when you compare him to Hades.
Yeah.
But at the same time, all of his behavior makes sense when you think about him, like, in Amarat, and now he's, like, the tenured professor douchebag who keeps, like, letting everything go askew because he's so much more interested in the experiment and progress. So arrogant that he's got it under control, and 12,000 years of insanity.
Yeah,
like everything is. They did a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
I would love to know what the loose points were that they had to work with, or what they had kind of mapped out, and then what they added to that. I mean, because they're not sitting there, 10 years ago. They're like, all right, so we have this thing. It's called an assy, and it's this robed skeleton winged thing. And in like 9 years, we'll have an expansion. They'll have an underwater city.
Yeah.
We'll humanize them. It'll be great. Yeah.
Back then, it was all tied to the presence of Silver Tear Lake anyway. So like, we'll
yeah. The thing that
boss is 6.0.
Yeah, we finally figure it out. The thing that we haven't talked about is the role quests, kind of, and how it's just a continual gut punch too. I mean, just continual gut punches about the Warriors of Darkness.
Yeah, I mean, and you already have that moment, right, where you know that they're gone. Yeah. But they're, there's parts of them that are still kind of lingering, and it's like there's a relation somewhat, right, to the Aardbert stuff that right? You talk to him, but with these characters, they're almost like lost or something. You know what I mean? And so you have to try and kind of help them to
pass on.
Yeah.
They're in a limbo.
Yeah, they're just stuck wandering the earth. Yeah, or the world. Yeah.
The shadow realm, if you will.
Yeah. And you know, some of those did not go the way that I thought they would either. It was actually pretty refreshing to see, and you know, just the elements of it, like playing with what you knew about them, and you know, kind of the interpersonal drama that they had was awesome. That's really cool because now we want to know more about them.
Right. Yeah. I there's I mean, that's the thing, right? You go to a whole other world. There's a lot of new stuff that you want to check out. For me, I just want more Amarot. Just full on Amarot. Like that's.
So we've been seeing these characters specifically from the role quest from the beginning, literally the beginning.
Yeah.
Do you think we're gonna stop seeing them? Their stories are done.
Yeah.
I don't think there's any reason to bring them back.
Yeah.
I mean, like they've been in trailers and stuff since the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Are they gone? Yeah. Will they be replaced? Honestly, what are they gonna do?
I don't know if there's even reason to bring Ardbert back.
Yeah.
No.
I think they could.
Derplander is gone.
As like a voice in our head, if they wanted to, but no, like we're joined, we're done.
That's it.
The whole Warrior of Darkness, original Warrior of Darkness arc, is done. Now we have us being the Warrior of Darkness arc.
Part of the danger of making the Warriors of Darkness look like that in the first place is like Derplander and Darklander are different dudes. They just happen to look very similar because
exactly.
When they were building the Warriors of Darkness arc, they were like, "Hey, wouldn't it be funny if they looked like the trailer party, like generic adventurers?" So now you've got 3 layers. You've got the trailer party, you've got the first Warriors of Darkness, and you've got the people who stand in for you in the trailer. They're all 3 separate entities, and I think that's going to confuse people a little bit.
Yeah,
but it was still cool.
Maybe one of the shards of us.
Yeah, more shards.
Yeah, shards everywhere.
Shards always
comes back to shards. Yeah.
So then,
all right,
we will kind of see those images in things to come for the future. They just
I think they'll still be in the trailers.
Be those specifically first people. Don't get confused, everybody.
Yeah.
It sounds like a really easy way to get confused.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I think we covered most of the big stuff. I'm sure more of this will trickle in future episodes as we just kind of banter about whatever.
Now we're allowed to talk about it. Woohoo!
Yes.
Amarot is the best thing ever. All right. So before we sign off here, one quick announcement. August 24th. It's 2 weeks from now. We're going to be doing our 10-year anniversary show. Because we're old. We've been here for a long time.
Back in my day.
Right? We had a plan for a whole network of shows. We only
still said Aether instead of Ether.
We have Yoshida saying it that way. We have to keep it. I don't want to lose that. Anyway. We're going to be doing some giveaways towards the end of the episode. On the 24th, we got a lot of cool stuff. If you guys checked out the 10-year anniversary Gamer Escape giveaway that we did, it'll be basically another round of those kinds of prizes. So we'll have a FanFest backpack with, I think, the next mouse pad and mouse set we had was a Carbuncle one, a signed copy of The Chronicles of Light by Naoki Yoshida. And we'll have some plushies to give away as well. So make sure to tune in for that. That'll be in 2 weeks. Next week, I don't know. It's up to Aldino and Zenitro what next week is. I'm not here, so.
What do you guys want to do?
It's a good question. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
If you have ideas, like throw us a tweet or bring it up in our Discord. Discord.gg/gamerscape. We have an Aetheryte radio channel on there. If there's something you want to see them talk about while I'm not here, they can just talk about me. If you just want to see them talk crap about me the whole episode.
Let me tell you all about Fusion.
Throw it out as an idea. Give them some bullet points and let them go to town.
The musical episode.
There you go. That's perfect. Well, I'm not here. I'm
exactly.
No, I can't be. No.
Part of the fun, is dragging you into it. So
I don't know if that's my definition of fun. Anyway,
we'll agree to disagree.
This isn't about you.
Yeah, always about me. If you want, you can email us, aetheryteradio@gamerscape.com, tweet at us at aetheryteradio and at Gamerscape. And you can find us on Facebook and Discord at Gamerscape as well. Thank you very much for tuning in. We hope you've been enjoying your time with Shadowbringers. And we will see you here next time.
Goodbye.
Later.